Under the same moon, we share the love, embracing the differences like hand in glove. Spreading peace and joy, it's a beautiful sight. Together we shine in each other's light. United we stand in love's pure might. Watching the world share in love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Watching the World. For some of you, we say good night, right? Because it's so late. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Karmelo Anthony, and we're going to really talk about it from a different angle. As you guys can see, I've covered this case quite extensively. In fact, today I was on the Black Lawyers podcast. So look out for that video. We did a nice breakdown. I was interviewed by a female attorney that really operates at a high level. And we discussed many different facets about this particular case. Tonight, though, I'm going to look at it from a different angle. And the big question is this: was Karmelo Anthony jumped? Did more than one person put their hand on him? That's the big question of tonight. I've already tried to establish to you guys, and it's very important here at Watching the World, that I lead with integrity. The minute I start giving you guys wrong information, what are you going to do on the next trial? You don't want to believe me, right? So that's why I worked so hard this week. I even offered money to people. Say, listen, Mr. Clever Man, come over here and show me that Karmelo Anthony was in the tent first, and I'll give you $1,000. And also offered additional $500 if you could go out and get somebody brave enough to come in and face the facts that Karmelo Anthony came into the tent after the Metcalf boys. Okay, but that's just one small particular point that was proven in court and also showed on video. If there's anyone that still has issues with this particular point, I'm ready to go. I can break it down for you the 18th time. I've shown it 17 times already. Okay? So we've gotten past that point. So now we get into the big question of whether or not he was jumped, because a lot of people are saying, listen, he was jumped. What really throws it off is that some said that they saw 4 individuals walk into the tent and that they circled Karmelo Anthony and they started to beat him, right? Well, that's not true according to the video that we have. If you need further guidance, I can help you with it tonight. I have the videos up, okay? So there's no walking up, there's no surrounding. But you know what? When it comes to the question of whether or not he was jumped, I'm here to tell you now, there is a strong possibility. In fact, there is solid evidence that points to that. And I know a lot of you don't want to hear about that. I'm going to get a lot of pushback in regards to this matter, but it's all there and it can be proven without a shadow of a doubt. And so the big question is, when it comes to this, is why did Karmelo Anthony not really become vocal about it? Was it fear? Was he told that maybe he didn't need to bring it up because the case was going to be won? That's the question everybody wants to know. We see people at large talking about the case and they're saying, listen, he was jump. We hear that a lot, right? Well, there's a reason for that, but most people that are talking about it do not show any substance as to articulate how it happened. But tonight we're going to delve into a question in regards to how would this change the case, right? Let's say, for argument's sake, we won't even name an individual. We're not going to blame anybody in particular and call names as to who was the first person that struck Karmelo Anthony. But the question is, what happens now that the case is over Obviously, he's going to an appeal, and many people are pressing in the direction that he was jumped. What does that mean? Do you think the case would have turned out differently if we actually knew what happened under the tent, and as many people say that he was jumped? Does that mean he should be out of prison and get a new trial? I'm just asking, what is your viewpoint on the matter? Because this is a very important factor, because I don't think we've ever seen a case where after the guy gets convicted, then all of a sudden we start to see evidence of something that's quite different than what we saw and heard in court. Okay? So my question to you, I'm going to really turn it to the audience and I'll start getting to your comments. But the real discussion tonight is what happens next when people are able to point out without a shadow of a doubt that Karmelo Anthony was touched by more than one person. That was not in court. Okay. Now, I will tell you this, we did not have a chance to hear from Karmelo Anthony, but even in the opening arguments, his attorneys didn't even bring it up. Now, as far as a matter of pushback, when you listen to Karmelo Anthony's words in the police body cam, he says, I told him not to. He put his hands on me. Well, who was he? See, we don't really know that. Everybody assumes that he's saying he, as in Austin, but could he have been talking about another individual? That's a valid question, right? It's a question that the world don't want to hear. But I'm here to tell you that some strange things are going to happen coming down the pipeline. And I believe when the real truth comes out, the world is not going to be able to. Well, I say world lightly, right? Because here in New York, when I ask people, do you know who Karmelo Anthony is? They say, yeah, the basketball player. No, the young guy down in Texas that went to prison for 35 years for, murder one or whatever they charged him with. People don't have a clue. No, never heard of the case. And quite frankly, they'll walk away and probably never research it, right? There's just so many cases, right? So I'm here tonight just to have this discussion with you because this is going to be dealt with. I will tell you that during the trial, one of the things that stood out to me, and again, I have no problems talking about the things that I saw and heard. But honestly, when I covered this case, I would have never thought in my wildest dream that we would see a whole trial get put on, and then you turn around and find out that there's more than meets the eye. What's happening here? When you sweep things under the rug, what you do in the dark always comes to the light, right? But people don't think about what's going to happen on that day when you have to face the facts of the matter and that we did not get the full picture at the trial. I would love to sit here and be able to tell you, listen, I don't buy this one bit. But after extensive research, and guys, let me tell you, when I cover cases, I cover them well. Despite what some of the late Johnny come late say and all this stuff, late Lucy's. But at the end of the day, I covered trials great. So we have a big problem at hand. And it's also going to come out that perhaps someone else should have been arrested on that day. Yeah, we got a big problem. It's coming down the pipeline. I don't want to say too much, but I will tell you, you have seen people at large saying that the boy was jumped. So I'm going to keep it in that arena because there is an appeal. And this is not about content. Forget about content. Um, we have an individual that lost his life. Rest in peace to Austin. That's a very important factor in all of this, too. But we also have the situation that deals with the justice system. And a lot of people have taken a strong stand on this case, right? So what are they going to do when they find out what really happened? I'm telling you, this is going to get thick. As in the words of the late, great DMX, it's about to get thick. And I don't think people are prepared for what's coming down the pipeline. I have to be very careful with my words, but I want you to write down this day because you're going to have to confront it and it's not going to be sweet. For those that are on the opposing side looking in saying, oh, he should have gotten life. Now, ultimately, with some of the new information that's prevailing out there, right? Many people are going to say, well, even though multiple people could have been giving him the beat down, it still did not warrant a knife, okay? And I get that. I understand it completely. But again, it needed to be in the trial. Wouldn't you say that, folks? Isn't that just common sense? All the facts needed to be on the table before you send a man to prison. Okay? This is a very important factor. And I'm not just here to blow smoke at you, right? I wouldn't put my credibility on the line for anybody. I could care less about a clique or anything else. I'm already a made man, before I came out here to you guys, right? I'm just killing time now, all right? So we have a real problem because now you also, when this comes to light and the real truth gets out, people are going to say, well, what about Tommy that got 20 years? Or what about the guy that got life? What about the guy that died? He had death penalty and the facts were hid or not put out completely. This is a real big problem. And I'm not afraid to say it. That's what I'm here for. Okay? Because when one person goes through a situation, it sets the stage for everybody to go through it too. Okay? This is very serious. In the case of Sean Diddy Combs, right? There were so many bad things. I sat through that trial every day in the main courtroom. I came back and I reported it to you guys expeditiously, right? But you know what they said in that case? They said, well, when it got a little sketchy and they needed to make a case against Diddy, you know who they used? They said, but we have this case called Kelly versus the state. So R. Kelly's case, his RICO trial, set the stage for Sean Diddy Combs to get a RICO trial. When the jury came through with their decision, they did not believe that Sean Diddy Combs was a John Gotti mob boss. And no negative toward John Gotti, but that's a common name that we know as an individual that was engaged in those type of activities. And I'm not here to judge the man. I'm just helping you guys to visualize what was happening, okay? So this is what we're going to talk about tonight is how do you deal with a situation where, for argument's sake, it comes out that Karmelo had at least two people beating on him, and that's how he got the black eye. It wasn't from the fall, or it wasn't from some other avenue. So my question to you is tonight, does that make a difference? We want to hear from the people. Does it really make a difference when you have new discovered information, perhaps, right? Okay, so I'm going to get to the comments and see what many of you are saying. We have a super chat. Shout out to you, Phil. Man, you're so amazing. Last night you gave a super chat or two or whatever, and that's so amazing that you would want to support the channel. Phil says people are making arguments the defense never made. Okay, that's true. They are making arguments that the people never made or the defense never made. Okay. And again, that calls into question in regards to the defense as well. And do you think that there is a possibility that there is truth behind the fact that people are convinced that he was jumped? And the question tonight is, if that is the case, and that by means of whatever they can pull up and show that more than one person was putting the beats on Karmelo, doesn't make a difference for his outcome. Okay, does it turn it into manslaughter? Does he walk free? This is all about you tonight. You can express yourself. I'm going to go through the comments as best as possible. But believe you me, I think the world is going to be shocked with some information that's going to be revealed eventually in this case. Okay, so you could take that any way you like to, but tonight we're just focusing on to see what difference would it make as far as how you feel about it, right? Some people are right to say, let the man go free, give him a new trial. Some people want to say that. I get it, okay? Some people say, well, we don't care if he was hit by 5 people. He should have never had a knife and struck anyone, okay? The tough part about the case is when you look at Karmelo's case, you don't have a testimony from him as to why. In fact, I was there and I attended the trial. The defense never made an argument as to why he had the tool, but I learned from an attorney, right, that because we learned in court that it wasn't illegal to have it, it was just prohibited from a school event, okay? It wasn't the school, but it was under the arrangement of the school because it's a track meet, right? We learned that maybe that's why they didn't try to explain it, is because it was not illegal. The defense did say that the blade was under 5.5 inches, therefore it was not illegal or unlawful. So I'm going to get to the comments tonight. We're going to primarily want to hear from you guys as to how would this shape your ideology in regards to this case if you found out without a shadow of a doubt that perhaps someone else hit Karmelo Anthony even before or after he was obviously struck by Austin. So we're going to get to that. And again, thank you, Phil, for your super chat. It's so amazing for you to do that to support the channel. So I'm going to breeze through as much as I can. I'm going to focus on question marks, just not comments. So if you have a question, this would be a good time to, what's up, Rich Block? Shout out to you. Harlem, New York. How are you? But indeed, this is going to be a big issue when people find out that he was jumped. What are you going to do if that's what's happened in this particular case and the young man went to get his sentencing, his verdict, without all of the information coming out? Does it make a difference? Let's get to it. Welcome to Texas says if Karmelo would have remained silent, he would have left the video up to interpretation to the jury. Karmelo was in his own worst witness. The state would have tore up the self-defense claim. Okay, but tonight we're talking about him being jumped. We already covered this case from so many different angles. And the real question is, what happens next if he was jumped? Commander says Karmelo deserves a new trial. Okay. Again, the question is, if he was getting the beat down by several boys, what should happen immediately? Just in your own interpretation. Okay. Shout out to you, Phil. Again, thank you very much. All right. Welcome to Texas says Karmelo own arresting testimony. He means one person. Okay. But the video is going to tell a better story than what Karmelo could ever tell. Now, when we were at the trial, the video expert, I was sitting there. I saw him on the stand. And the defense attorneys asked him, why didn't you highlight, because everybody's seen the video. I'm not the conspiracy theorist. That's probably why I'm not so popular, right? I'm not going to sit around and tell you guys a whole lot of, all of these crazy stories. I don't really want to speak on things until I get some solid information. So that way I can back myself up, right? So that's the way I move. So if I'm insinuating towards something or moving in a direction, you better believe that I have something that I can hang my hat on. Okay. So the video expert, when he was asked by the defense, why didn't you highlight under the tent? Remember, they highlighted Karmelo running away and they put that beautiful white orb around him. And so that's a good question by the defense. Why wasn't it highlighted under the tent so we could see every lick? And the video expert says, well, the prosecution never asked me to. And I saw people looking around at each other like, well, that doesn't make sense because we're here for knowledge. You know how they say you will know the truth and the truth shall set you free, right? That's what people really want to know. So that would have been an opportune time to actually show what was happening under the tent. That's what makes this case so phenomenal, is the lack of knowledge. And basically in court, right, I sat there and I showed a video to you guys time and time again. I even show you many times who arrived in the tent first. I show you all of these details. 2 hours later, somebody will write me and say, nope, Carmelo was in the tent first. It's like insanity when you really think about it, right? Because I'm showing you. So that tells me the person that's writing comments, they're watching other people's videos. They see my title. They might watch 5 seconds and then they go write something in the comment that they received someplace else. But that's just the nature of life. And this is just how it has to be. But anyway, let's get back and let's focus now. We've gotten over. I offered the money. I tried to get people to come forward. Show me Carmelo was there first. Go ahead, big shot. Come and get your $1,000. Nobody showed up. A few guys were chomping at the bit. You fishermen, you know what I'm talking about. You know how you start getting little bites, but the guy don't really want no smoke, so he just keeps going. I tried, so I'm over it now, and now we can move on to the fact of him being jumped. Okay. All right. So that's going to be a tough discussion because a lot of people are saying he was jumped, but they're basing it on stories and they're not really showing you the real facts of the matter. But when the real facts get boiled down, I think we're going to find out that there's more to this case than meets the eye. I can already tell you that. And I'm trying to just give you a little idea. Just take this as a little hint of what's going to be coming down the pipeline in this case eventually. Because the truth is going to come out and it's not what you actually probably believe. It's not definitely what I believed because I based everything on what I heard in court. I sat through the case. I was sitting there listening carefully to see, was there ever a moment where they're going to say, somebody else touched Carmelo. In fact, when it came to the other twin, I said to myself, well, I was expecting, and I want to make this very clear because a lot of people are going to come in and want to judge me. This is how this world works. But I was actually listening to see, well, did Hunter hit him? Okay, I sat through the entire trial. All of these kids came in and they tried to paint this narrative that Hunter just sat. So I'm going to give you guys a good little breakdown, right? And this is for the key watchers here, because even the debaters or the negative people, I can't get them to come up and talk to me to save my life. If you got all the information, big shot, why don't you come on and show me that Carmelo was in the tent first, right? So we're over that, right? So I want you guys to envision this. A lot of these, and guys, I'm in the courtroom, and I know I'm going to get people saying all sorts of weird things. Okay. Typically, when I cover a trial, I won't get into it this deeply. The reason why I have to take this approach is because I saw some things that were not right. Okay. Now, I'm not the Robin Hood. I'm not the Superman to save people, but I was troubled by this case just for the fact that the truth was being withheld in many cases, right? But anyway, although many of the prosecution's witnesses came in and they gave this narrative, there was two dominant narratives. One of the narratives is that Eddie didn't really talk to Carmelo, and Carmelo really didn't talk to Eddie. Carmelo came in. Here's more. Carmelo walked up and he sits beside Eddie, right? Some say he sat behind Hunter. Okay, so that tells you Hunter has to be there already. But anyway, that's a whole mute point at this time. Okay, so think about this. You're at the game, right? I remember the last game that I went to recently, and the kids are out there playing. Your knees are literally on the back of the person in front of you. I'm 6 feet tall, so my knees are usually right on the person in front of me, right? Now let's compare that to Hunter's statement. Hunter says, and I should play it, but I know it's so good. A lot of people are misquoting Hunter. Again, that hurts the case because you're just making all these statements and you're not really on top of your game when it comes to the case, right? But anyway, Hunter says that they're sitting in the tent. And he says this boy, he hears his boy, he starts saying terrible things. Okay. And he says that basically he turned around. Now, he said he saw Austin go and grab Karmelo's bag. Okay. All right. I already broke down what that means. Okay. That was his perspective. But the way that Hunter is talking, it's like you would think Karmelo was sitting way back behind him and he hears him from a distance. I'm here to tell you today, Hunter was sitting directly in front of Karmelo. You can see it in the video. Okay. So you got a guy where his knees could potentially be on your back. And he's talking, saying your ass and your peas, talking about a woman's parts, right? He's saying all of that sitting behind you, right? I mean, his knees can literally touch your back, folks. And you sat there the whole time and you didn't turn around. Now, I'm not talking about Hunter, but I'm talking about the case, okay? So, Hunter's closer to Karmelo than Austin. But Austin is the one that went and attacked him. Okay. Nobody really drew that out in the court case. But the kid says, yeah, Hunter was the first one that said something to Karmelo. And that backs up what he said in the video. So you're the first one to talk to him and tell him to get out of here. And the brother is at a distance, the one that ultimately lost his life. Okay. But the kids kept saying that Hunter sat there and barely turned around. Okay, so I'm just telling you guys the facts from the case, okay? So in the video, you see Austin come from a distance. Again, a lot of the kids in the courtroom, I can't wait till the transcripts come out because it's going to shut down a lot of, even mainstream media are getting facts wrong. So we can't really call it facts, okay? They're getting things wrong. I can name a whole list of it, but I'm not here for that today. But Austin, he comes from a distance. These other kids says, oh, he just touches him lightly on the shoulder. My God, did you see the video? Nobody called the kids out and say, wait a minute, we saw the video. That doesn't look like a guy moving lightly and doing a light touch. Eddie testified. Eddie was the nexus in between both parties, right? Eddie said that Austin came at Karmelo so hard it knocked him out the way. You could literally see some of these activities going on in the video. This is what Eddie said, right? So that did not even jive with what the other kids said. The kids were constantly saying that Karmelo walked up, he gave Eddie a little dap and didn't say anything. That makes it seem like the guy that comes to your family reunion and maybe he daps up your Uncle Teddy. Hey, bub, boop. He sits down and he doesn't talk to anybody. Doesn't that make everybody feel uncomfortable? Like, what is this guy doing here, right? But see, within the whole pool of witnesses, we had individuals that would give us a little bit of meat on the bones, I call it. Oh, they were talking about the weather. Oh, okay. Well, that's not what the other kids said. Okay. Hunter said in the video that Austin grabbed his backpack. Not one kid said anything about Austin grabbing a backpack. You mean to tell me not one kid remembered Austin grabbing a backpack? Because then you have to wonder if he grabbed the backpack and the knife is in the backpack, and the backpack we clearly saw was flung over there. Well, how in the world did the backpack get over there with the knife in it if Austin was controlling the bag, right? Or maybe he just grabbed it and he didn't take control of it. But don't you think the defense should have drawn that out? I covered so many cases, right? And I'm used to seeing attorneys like Mark Agnifilo, Diddy's attorney, his wife, Karen Agnifilo, Brian Steele, my good buddy. I'm used to seeing these guys perform at a high level, right? But in this case, I only saw two objections, maybe three if I blinked, right? Why is that the case? In New York, right? In 1 hour, you'll see objection, objection. And sometimes you'd be like, man, will you just chill out? But no, the attorneys like Calvin Johnson tell us in order to set the precedence, the stage for you to be able to appeal, you need to have, in most cases, he speaks from the lawyer's perspective, you need to have made an objection. Okay? Let me give you an example of an objection at Luigi Mangione's case, right? The prosecution for Luigi Mangione, I've been covering the hearings for the state and the federal case. I'm going to be covering the trial for both. He has a state and federal trial. But the prosecution kept calling Luigi Mangione's journal a manifesto. And what did Karen Agnifilo do? She stood up. Objection. He keeps calling the manifesto. The judge says, well, we're not at trial and we don't have a jury here, but I won't let him say that during the trial. He has to call it a red journal, not a manifesto. So you see how that works? A good attorney is going to be objecting. There were so many things to object to in this case. Now, for those of you who get a little bit stuck on this case and you feel like, well, you're only giving one angle, because all the questions that I receive are one angle. They want to know about Karmelo's case. If I was getting more questions about Austin, I could argue it from that angle too. So before we get too out of sync, I just want to make that very clear to you why that's the case, okay? So when it comes to this case, again, I want to ask you guys, what will be your position? What do you feel about the case when you find out that more than one person was approaching him and putting their hands on Karmelo? Does it make a difference? That's the point of contention tonight. That's what we want to talk about. We want to unpack that and break it down. Now, I know some of the people, I've been fighting with a certain section over the last week. I use the word fighting lightly, but I've been going back and forth. I've been taking on a lot of different people. I see video, I see it, whatever, right? But now I want to go back to the other section that are not ready to hear the facts of the case, and that perhaps it could be possible that he was touched by more than one person, and it did not come out in the trial. Whether you say Karmelo said it or not, that's not here or there, because if it's on the video or if it can be substantiated, then you have to confront that fact if it is a fact, right? So I'm going to try again to get to the comments. I know I went on a journey here. And again, thank you for the super chats. Let's see, we have another one. Okay, Fates Karma. Oh, thanks for gifting a membership. Shout out to you. Fates Karma lost his beloved wife, and my heart goes out to him. It's been several months now. Hope you're doing good, buddy. I miss talking with you, but it's good to see you here tonight, okay? So let's get to it. Let's unpack it. Again, people are saying keep your hands to yourself and you won't have this problem. Believe me when I tell you, I wouldn't bring this subject up. I wouldn't even touch on it unless I had some solid information, okay? So I'm not here to just tickle your feathers tonight. I'm here to ask you a serious question. And what do you think is going to happen if information actually comes out in regards to this? Does it change your position? So let's get to the comments. I want to see what people are saying. I'll try to read as many as I can. There's just too many to cover everything. All right, so let's see here. Loretta says they just want to make their wrong or right. The truth is the truth. What is the truth, Loretta? I don't know. I didn't see your previous comment. We have Gold Digger. She says, thank you for supporting the channel just by being here. Sending good vibes to everyone. Take a moment to hit the button. All right. Thank you very much. Black Panther says, question, does it matter that they hit him? I can see several people standing up, kind of surrounding him. Well, that's the same question that I'm asking, because many are saying that he was hit by several individuals. So when the video or what have you comes out to show that to be true, what would you do in that particular case? That's the question of tonight. We need to stay on topic, and I really appreciate you guys. Miguel says we need to put the case to rest. Okay, so I'm not even reading that. You don't get to tell me what to do around here, but Thank you for your comment. Thank you, but no thank you. All right. You got to get with the program around here. This is not somebody else's channel. This is mine. All right. So let's get to it. Welcome to Texas says the arrival of the assailant is not really a good argument. He was there first. You have to do or be somewhere to be told to leave. It's the cause and effect. You're putting a timeline on cause. So, Texas, is your argument that Karmelo was there first? Is that your argument? I can't make out really what you're saying there. But if it is, I would be more than happy to show you again for the 18th time if you're having a hard time understanding that. What's happening is you're going to TikTok, you're watching a little short, less than a minute, and some guy is telling you, Carmelo was there first. And because my video, you have to sit through the 15-minute video, and I'm breaking it down minute by minute. You're having a hard time paying attention for that long. So I get it. But if that's your position, we can go there again. All right. So welcome to Texas says Morris Dwayne Turner listed on text. Okay. Not sure what that is. Oh, I know what you're talking about. I get that. I was confronted about that when I was there. Some people were talking about that. Okay. OX says Carmelo and Austin were in a. Oh, my God. I can't push that. That could be a false narrative. Commander says, I don't care if he got jumped by one person or five. So here we go. We have a answer in regards to the question of the night. Okay, him or his counsel need to convince a jury that his life felt threatened. Are the bleachers cement or metal? I'm sure it was slippery. Did he slip? They were metal. Okay, so we have one person saying it really wouldn't make a difference. I don't really want to talk about the guy that everybody's bringing up his name and talking about perhaps what he's done. This is more about Carmelo. Okay. Phil James says, you destroyed their clout, Mel. Yeah, that's why nobody really wants to hear the truth of the matter. I get it. I understand. But over here, I'm indebted to tell you the truth. And that's what we get. I might just go through the video again tonight if we get a few people that are still pushing that narrative over here. All right. Okay. Openings. Welcome back. Okay. Great. Let me see if I see any question marks. All right. Opening says, I really need to know what happened. Okay. I've covered it for over a week now, breaking it down bit by bit. Okay. Welcome to Texas says, why are we talking yeah, we shouldn't be talking about that guy. He's not on trial, but people are using the testimony of people who were not even in the courtroom to try to establish points. So I get it. All right. Welcome to Texas says, so it would have been either Austin or Hunter. Okay. All right. Let's see here. We have so many comments, but not much about this subject matter. Commander says, if he were my son, I would want a different judge, different counsel, open court, and another chance. Okay. All right. But the question is, if the jumping element is true, what would you want to see happen now? The verdict is in, but if new information you see right with your own eyes, what will be your approach? That's what the question is tonight. Okay. Commander says more investigation. Okay. Twan says, first of all, why would Carmelo or just start talking reckless out of nowhere? Why? For what I don't believe that. Okay. That's what Eddie said. Some of the other students said that he did that, but I understand your position. That makes sense. You know, you don't get a chance to hear from Carmelo. So even the defense witnesses, a lot of them spoke from a distance from being on the field. So it would have been helpful if some of the witnesses came from actually inside the tent and said, listen, the first thing we heard in this whole development was someone say, get out the tent, or we heard Carmelo say, you guys suck ass. Okay. So we don't really have a solid, ignition here. Okay. Welcome says the truth hurts. That's true. Okay. Shout out to everybody here. I see a lot of comments coming in from the same individuals. Okay, great. Commander says, did the kid's testimony seem truthful? body language, and everything. In certain cases, I did feel like they were being truthful about things, but for the most part, I found a lot of inconsistencies. And in fact, the prosecution said, listen, the witnesses, you're going to find that a lot of their stories did not match. Okay. So that helps you understand, hopefully, that we were prepared for that by the prosecution in regards to the witnesses. Twan says Hunter got mad because Carmelo was saying their team was trash and couldn't deal with that. So he gets to bully brother to go down and do and scare and do wrongfully Austin grab. Okay, so thank you for your comment. I get what you're saying, okay? Welcome to Texas says, I think the last video you said Carmelo was wearing New Balances. No, Austin was wearing New Balances, okay? Austin was wearing New Balances. Carmelo was wearing black and white Chucks, and Hunter had on some white sneakers. You couldn't really define the name brand, okay? Gold Digger says, yes, Hunter said in the video that his brother always backs him up. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, Just Mona says, wow, okay. Opening says, so are you saying the lawyers failed Carmelo? More than words can say. More than words can say. It's quite evident. Twan says, that's because the kids were lying and they didn't see anything. Someone told them. We saw a great case of that with a female that took the stand. And basically, the defense attorneys had her admit that she was lying about the whole, pretty much what she was saying. So she came on the stand, but what she had testified that on the 2nd of April, she was in the tent adjacent to the memorial tent for Austin and Hunter. And she looked over and she said she had a friend on the field and she was trying to watch her friend run. And she said she looked over to the memorial tent. She saw Carmelo and Austin arguing about who's going to outrun each other. She said her friend was about to run. She watched her friend a little bit. She looked back and Austin was already stabbed. After she was cross-examined, it turned out the defense had her admit that she was lying about most of her stories. You know what? The mainstream media didn't even cover it. How many of you heard about this on the mainstream media? All they tell you is that the defense had a witness that changed his story while he was on the stand. That's why this case is so fascinating, and that's why I like to cover it, because a lot of people are not getting like the real meat on the bones about the case. And when you get this, even though people are not really going to read the transcripts, right? Probably not. But to be able to go through those transcripts and really find out what happened, I think it's going to be an amazing day for a lot of people that are following this case. Twan says, free Carmelo Anthony. He deserves to be free. Okay. Welcome to Texas says, so Austin was a hero. He stepped in, took the blade for Hunter. Is this correct? Okay. I can't really speak on that. He has appeal attorneys that can articulate what really happened. We have to see how this turns out. Phil James says, if you ever investigate a traumatic event, you will see how different stories can be with people. I understand that. I see that with a lot of these cases. Good job, Phil. People who've seen the same event, then they take all of the stories and find, okay, commonalities, then compare to evidence. We learned that when I covered the Alexander brothers recently in that trial, we had a expert come on and talk about why people forget key ingredients to a trial. They said in many cases, with a civil case, the money will drive people to change their story or to make up stories to try to make it seem like something happened way worse than what it did. They also said, the expert says sometimes the attorneys will coach a person to tell lies in a case. And I was shocked to hear that in the Alexander brothers case. But the expert came in and said, listen, they call it leading, where the attorney meets with the client before court and then convince them that something happened that may not have been true. Okay, so there's a lot to this to unpack. But that's why perhaps we need to, I'm going to work on bringing on a specialist to the conversation. Thank you, Phil, for bringing that up. Okay, All right, let's see. We got to be smarter than this. Part of in process in jail fingerprints and photographs. So. Okay, so I'm going to pass on that one. That doesn't make much sense to me. Gold Digger says Hunter said in his interview with his mom. Okay, thank you very much. Commander says amen. All right. And keep in mind, guys, I'm the first one that was telling you there's no indication about a jumping happening. Okay. When you go through all the courtroom testimony and all that, you don't really pick up that there or some more than one person actually hit Karmelo, right? I've been telling you that for over a week or two now. But now what I'm trying to express to you, and my question is, if you find out without a shadow of a doubt from the video that he was struck by more than one person, maybe even beat, would it change your position on the case? And that's the discussion tonight. So we have to stay focused. A lot of people are pushing back, making a big deal about it, but this is a discussion and we're entitled to that. So thank you. Welcome to Texas says, was Carmelo wearing New Balance? No, he was wearing black and white Nike Chucks. Okay. I could easily show that to you. All right. So that seems to be a real big deal. Whatever you guys want to see tonight, I'll show it to you, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. I don't know why I keep getting asked the same question here. But let's just do this really, really quick for you guys to just see here. Give me 1 second. We're going to get back to as many questions as possible. But let's see if I can get up the body cam video really quick here. If not, we'll keep moving, but I think I can find it for you. Some people want to know, oh, wow, they've covered up quite a few of these videos. Okay, can I find it really quick? Let's see here. 911 call. I need the body cam video. Give me 1 second here. Body cam video. Okay, here we go. Give me 1 second, guys. I want to show what kind of sneakers the guy had on. Give me 1 minute. Since I keep being asked the same question, why not show it? Give me a second here. All right, so Texas, here you go. I hope you pay attention. You've been asking this, so I'm going to give you what you want. Okay, so we're going to just move over here and find out what kind of sneakers Carmelo had on. So here you go. There's his sneakers, okay? You want to know so bad. He has them in black and white, not New Balances, black and white. Nothing on your person at all. Those are, I believe, Nike, and the young kids, they call them Chucks, okay? So I got you what you need. Thank you for your participation tonight. I hope that helps you. If there's some people that are still stuck on who arrived in the tent first, I could give you another walkthrough, but hopefully we don't have to do that again. Okay. If you have any more questions, I'll try to pull up as much as I can for you as well. And thank you guys for all of your participation. Okay. All right. Let's see what other questions. So we're over that. We know what kind of shoes Carmelo had on. Okay. Kev says, did Carmelo ever specify who he was? No. And that's the big question. Many people assume that it was Austin because Austin is the one that was stabbed, but it wasn't really expressed, or he wasn't questioned, obviously, because he didn't take the stand. So that question remains. Okay, Chuan says all the money the lawyers made should be retrieved. He did nothing for Carmelo but hurt him, period. Okay, thank you very much for that. All right, Chuan says keep your hands to yourself. Okay, I get it. Loretta says that's probably the reason the defense attorney didn't object, making sure they had no grounds for another trial. I've heard that so many times before. Loretta, you're really a critical thinker. I like you, Loretta. I like the way you think. Good job. Welcome to Texas says, okay, if it was Hunter, then Austin is the true brother keeper, a real life hero. Okay. I won't touch on that. but I get what you're saying. Miguel says, but there's no mention of it anywhere, bro. I had to send photos to my attorney when I was fighting my case. Miguel, I'm with you. I understand your position, but I'm telling you that there's new information on the table. And perhaps you're not aware. And I'm just trying to give you a little heads up that when it comes out, you're going to wish you knew. Anyway, Phil says, Mel, do you have notes on the defense opening statement? Yes, I do. I have them. I went through them before, but Phil, you've been supporting me so well. I'll go through it for you, buddy. All right. You've been kind to me, so I'll do this for you. Welcome to Texas says, so Austin is a hero. I don't know about that, but anyway, Twan says the lawyer was definitely not for Karmelo. Okay, Phil says it depends on why it was not brought out in the trial. Good. Let's see. Do we have any questions? I see a lot of statements, no question marks. If you have a question, put a question. Okay, here we go. Miguel says, but what truth are we talking? Over a year, it was conveniently not documented by his attorney, the investigator, nor his family that he was jumped and has defensive wounds. I was with you all the way until a certain point. So I get what you're saying. I had that same position. I was in the court, Miguel. But Miguel, sometimes when you see things differently, you think differently. Okay. So all I can tell you is hold on to your thought, but one day you're going to have to confront a different idea. Okay. So you could take that for what it's worth. Okay. Welcome to Texas says, okay, why did his team argue that? Who knows, man? They were out to lunch, perhaps. I'm not sure. Okay, let's see. I don't see any question marks. Okay, Kavia says, if that were to be true, I'd definitely like to see a new trial. Okay, open to the public. All right. Great comment. We had somebody answer the question. Thank you very much. All right, thank you. Hey, Phil says that is common, especially with younger crowd. Okay, you're talking about the Chucks, right? Maybe. Thank you very much. Okay. He said that Carmelo had Nike Pandas. That's what they call them. Okay. I can see that, black and white. Thank you for the elaboration, if that's so. Okay. Kivia says, I think Melo was wearing Nike Dunks. Okay. All right. Q says the twin definitely didn't like people speaking on bad team. The mother speaking on the cheerleader email about the attitude from the loss speaks volumes. Okay. I understand that. Good point. Murray says several people who were in the courtroom said they saw Jeff Metcalf coaching one of the kids. The only thing that I observed about Jeff Metcalf is that he kept coughing. Okay? He kept coughing. Okay? That's all I could tell you. So, welcome to Texas says Chucks and Nikes are totally different. Okay. I reserve the right to that. I don't know. I don't wear them. So, thank you for the clarification. That's not my forte. Okay. Kev says, wow, I don't recall hearing that. So there's no ramifications for her lying. Listen, I saw it happen in Sean Diddy Combs' case, and I thought because of perjury that they were going to lock this girl up that came on the stand and was lying. It was very clear that she lied. There was no perjury because she was probably not the person they were after. They were more concerned about Diddy. So to see that happen, and I didn't hear any ramifications from it, I'm not shocked. Phil James says her testimony seems irrelevant. She looked away and it happened. Good point, Phil. Nice. Opening says, do I wish Carmelo had maybe just tried to walk away? Yes. Only because the kid would still have his life and Carmelo would not be losing most of his. Okay. All right. You wish there was, okay, no racism. Okay. Thank you for that. Lola says, hi, Mel. The person walking in 2 minutes later seems to have a black hoodie, while there's a person upper right with a gray hoodie, dark joggers. That's all I got. Okay, so I don't really want to go through it again unless people really want me to go through the video again. But you can clearly see in the short video that the person that walks in and sits behind Hunter that we hear about in court, that's the same head that you see Austin go and attack. Okay? And that head gets pushed back. Okay? So it's very easy for us to go through it. It might be hard to digest, but I've shown it. I don't mind showing it again tonight if there's enough people that want to actually have me go through the video and show you guys again. I'll do it. Okay? Okay, Nike Dunks, Panda, Color Wave. Okay, so I'm already lost when it comes to those sneakers. I'm sorry about that. I don't know, but those were the sneakers, and I'll take your word for it. Texas. Okay, Phil James says on the appeal, I don't see how the defense not bring this up during the trial would matter. The defense failed, and it's a matter if they're intentional or not. Okay, so there we have a solid answer in regards to the question that I was asking. If this information comes out, do you see it going a different direction? And Phil answered the question. Thank you, Phil. Okay. All right. Welcome to Texas says Converse and Nikes are totally different. Okay. All right. Thank you. So we have a sneaker discussion going on. Stan with Carmelo says free Carmelo. Okay. All right. Oh, so Chucks are Converse. Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So we have a super chat again from Phil, $9.99. Phil, you're awesome. Mel, do you have notes on the defense? Okay. I already answered that. Actually, Phil, since you're so supportive, I'm going to send you my notes. I'm going to copy the notes for you, and you can have a copy of my notes because you've been supportive the last couple of days. So, Phil, I need an email from you, and I'll send you a copy of the defense opening arguments that I wrote, and I hope it helps you understand it better. That's my way of giving back to you since you support me kindly. Thank you. Just Mona says, I missed a few days, but why are the shoes important? I'm not sure. Somebody in the audience was asking about the shoes. Well, I'll tell you this. The shoes are important for the twins because it helps you to tell them apart. They're both wearing the same clothes. So they both have on the black short sleeve shirt and black shorts. So when you look at their shoes, you can tell them apart. In the exhibits, you see that, as we learned in court, Austin lost one of his New Balance sneakers. He left it and his mother saw it and she was crying. And my heart went out to that lady when she saw her son's sneaker that was left behind and she probably purchased them for him. It was just it was a tough moment. I'm just telling you what we saw in court. Everybody felt sorry for her. She was crying and just a tough situation, you know. Easy Does It says, wait, what did I miss? What new information? There's information coming out in regards to whether or not Karmelo was jumped. Phil James says, thank you. All right, Phil, I got you. I'll send you. I just need your email. I'll send you my notes. Okay, Jess Mona says, question, why are the shoes important? We went over that already. Okay, question, guys, if you have questions, what is the new evidence and where is it coming from? That I can't really elaborate on, Phil. But I'm free for you to contact, all right? If you want to talk to me, you've been supporting me. Why don't you reach out to me, all right? QT says, do you think the mother talking about the cheerleader email and threats made it to them would have made a difference during the trial? I don't really think so. This trial already had some motion to it. It had momentum and it was headed in a particular direction. All right. The Rebel says, have you ever considered that the stabbing was for Hunter instead? All I can tell you is wait to see the video. That's going to be my new answer for everybody. Wait to see the video. And guys, I don't waste your time. And I don't just sit up here and just talk for the hell of it. All right. So I'm trying to prep you as much as I can without saying too much. All right. I'm not here wasting my time tonight. Okay, Commander says everything moved fast in the case. In my opinion, do you know how fast the appeal can be approved? No. The attorneys, they all give me a different answer in regards to that. And it could take time. Listen, I attended Sean Diddy Combs' appeal. It seemed like it's been almost 6 months now. And they still have not came back with the answer in regards to whether or not he'll get out. And I believe he gets out in February or March of 2028. And from what people were explaining to me, that some people, they've spent all their time in jail or in prison waiting on the appeal that is pretty synonymous to the time they had remaining. So the appeal, they might answer, but yeah, you already spent 95% of your time in prison already, right? So that's what's so hard for Sean Diddy Combs in this particular case, because he's trying to get out. He kept appealing. And now that he has an appeal and we actually went to court, I heard all of the arguments. There were 3 judges there, and they all had their own perspective. The main judge seemed to be more towards Diddy's favor, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, we still haven't heard anything. It's been months, right? So put on your seatbelt. Okay, what's the new evidence? Alleged evidence. Okay, alleged evidence. Okay, I get that. Phil James says the sneakers are irrelevant. Okay, I get that. Okay, all right. All right, to see any more questions? Yes, Phil, I got you. Reach out to me, Phil. You support me. Talk to me. I'll answer your questions. Cutie says Austin was so upset. Now I'm going to be going to Egypt, so you got to catch me quick. That's why I'm doing this last live before I travel. I wanted to come on and just answer questions tonight and talk about the whole jumping element because everybody's talking about it. Okay. Cutie says Austin was so upset about losing that he wouldn't finish the game. Hunter went on to play. The mother says Hunter is not headed. Austin would basically play hero. Okay, I get that. All right, thank you. All right, the Rebel says, is that info coming from the defense side? I can't really answer that right now, but please take my words very seriously. All right, the Rebel says no. And keep in mind, guys, I had no problem coming and telling you guys that Karmelo was not in the tent. I went against the grain, and I gave you guys the facts that was actually in court. All right? So, in the end, you guys are going to see if you stick around and you pay attention to what I'm saying and you compare it to the courtroom transcripts. Listen, keep in mind, I offered $1,000. I'll still give away $1,000. I wish I could find somebody that can show me on the video where Karmelo is already in the tent. You can have your $1,000 tonight. Come and get it. I'll put the video up and you can come up here and show me how Karmelo is in the tent. He's not. And I've shown you guys so many times, and I know it hurts your feelings because you want to believe what these guys have been telling you, that 4 guys walked up into the tent and attacked Karmelo. Insanity. You know what I mean? It didn't happen. Karmelo is not in the tent. So just one person asked me to show it, and I'll show it again. But I don't want to sound like a broken record. So hopefully we're beyond that. Okay. So let's keep moving. All right. The Rebel says, crazy work. The Rebel, have you seen me break it down? Hopefully you have. It's so clear. Every time I really show people. See, the problem is, let me explain it to you why people are so confused. The video that they put out, they show Carmelo walking into the arena. And so you start to think that Carmelo is arriving first, right? Because of the way the video is chopped up. Because then they show you, that's the way they showed it to us in court. But in court, they actually told us the times that they arrived, right? Okay, so Carmelo arrives on the left, the west camera. And you see on the east camera, you see the twins walking in, right? You see Hunter run past Austin. He takes number one lead. He's the first one to walk into the tent. He sits down. He doesn't stand around. See, the guys that are on TikTok, let me tell you, man, these people are master manipulators. They can bullshit you all day long. They show you the video and they show you that Hunter walks into the tent. And then because he's standing by this black figure, this blob, they stop the video and then they say, look, he's beating him. Oh my God, he's not beating anybody. I've shown you guys this, right? If you want to see it again, I'll do it again for you. But it's insanity, you know? And I'm willing to give you $1,000 if you can come and prove it. That's beautiful, right? Who couldn't use $1,000 right now? I have it in your pocket by midnight. Come up here and show me that Carmelo was already under the tent. I could easily show you that Carmelo arrived after the twins, right? So that's my point. I've been honest. I saw people in their stories. I had no problems coming and telling the watchers, this is the real deal. This is what we saw in court. And instead of showing you a chopped video, I've shown you guys the full video for 15 minutes. And you see the actual timeline of who arrives, okay? All right. Rich Block. Man, Rich, I like you. You know, shout out to you, Rich. Please lock in with me. Stick with me. It's rough around here, Rich. A lot of people are coming after me. I'm okay because I show the facts and I try to give a guy $1,000 to prove me wrong. He can't even do that. Could you just come and take $1,000, brother? If you're right, right? But the problem is the minute you accept or you figure out that I'm right, now the gig is up and you have to face the facts, right? You can't push this narrative. The gig is up for you. You see, that's the reason why people are having a problem with my message, right? $1,000 right now. Let's go. Where you at? Come on up here and show us that Carmelo. We have the video. And then when I show people that he wasn't, right? He wasn't in the tent first, that he actually walked in. I show you when he walked in. People say, oh, that has to be a fake video. And you know why? Because on TikTok, somebody said they saw something different and they had a vision. And the good Lord said to them, you know what I mean? It starts going down these type of roads, okay? I'm here for it. Let's go. The rebel says, is he being in the tent first relevant? Yes, very relevant. I just explained to you why. Because it kills the false narrative that four people walked into the tent, surrounded him, and started beating Carmelo. If you're gonna, all the people that profess to want to help Carmelo, the way you can help him is by being honest and stop putting out false information. That's it. Okay, here we go, guys. Lola did it to you. I want everybody to blame Lola because Lola says, show the video. I didn't want to do it tonight, but Lola made me do it, guys. So guess what? We're going to watch the video, and I'm going to show you again for the 18th time. Carmelo arrives after the twins, okay? You guys ready? Thank you to Lola. Let's go. Okay, so now we have the video. Thanks to Lola. Bless you, Lola. All right. So now um, you see two sets of boys walking in 3 and 3. That makes 6, okay? As they walk around the bend, they're walking on the concrete area around by the gate. Okay? I'm going to zoom in later So I just need you guys to focus. Now you're going to see Hunter run. You're going to see him running. He's going to tap his brother on the back and run in front of him. Look at Hunter running, guys. That's Hunter running. He taps his brother on the shoulder right now. Boop. And he runs past him. And he stops. And now he's walking with the first two boys. So now Hunter is number 3 in trail. And Austin is in the background. But they're still walking together. Okay. All right. So I'm going to show you guys. Karmelo arrives after. Hopefully this is the last time I have to show it. But I like showing it because people are getting it wrong and it's just so funny. So check it out. Let me, do you guys see in the middle of the tent, there's a blob of darkness, right? And you could also see somebody sitting in the top right-hand corner. When I zoom in, you'll be able to see it better. But right now, if you're on your phone, you should be able to expand the screen. But what you can see under the tent, let me get so I can see the comments, okay? I really want to get through this, okay? All right, the Rebel, get it on television. Okay, good deal. All right, we're going to go through this. We might go through it 2 or 3 times. This is my last show for a while. Well, I'm going to be going live in Egypt for you guys. So check this out. For my good watchers, I went and got a 4K phone so I could stream amazing video so you guys can see a lot of details, right? I did that for the watchers, right? I want you guys to see crystal clear the pyramids and everything else, okay? So I made that investment today because I was thinking about the good watchers who follow this channel, okay? All right, so here we go. Hopefully the Rebel has it on the television. Okay. Thank you. YouTube is on is on the television. Okay, so I want you guys to look at the tent. Do you see the open gap in the tent, folks? Do you see that? Okay. There's a wide open gap. Put a 1 in the chat if you see the wide open gap. We have to slow this down. Okay, so the Rebel sees the gap. Oh, Rebel, I'm going to open your eyes tonight. Maybe you can go out there and tell some of these folks that are in the wilderness and that are lost. Hopefully you can help them find themselves tonight, okay? Because I'm going to break this down for you guys, and we're going to take a lot of 1s in tonight and a lot of 2s, and we're going to have the 2s. We're going to show it to them until they can become a 1. Tonight you'll be saved, okay? Well, I can't explain, why people are not getting this, right? But anyway, all right. So, guys, everybody's saying a 1. We can move on, okay, class? I'm going to be a teacher tonight. And again, I'm prepping you guys that when you find out that Karmelo had multiple people putting hands on him, you're going to think back to this night. You're going to say, that guy that wears that suit and that hat, who is that that guy? But he was right. Anyway, all right. So let's get to it. Okay. Notice that Hunter is a guy. He has on black. He's a 3rd guy, but he's the first guy walking into the bleachers because you're going to notice the 2 guys that were walking with Hunter. Notice how they keep on walking by. Remember that song, Walk On By? Watch them walk by the tent. Look, these 2 boys keep walking past the tent. So now you have 1 in the tent, and that's Hunter sitting down. He has on the white sneakers that you see in the video where they show them actually walking into the arena. Okay? So do you guys see Hunter? I'm going to show you again because I really want you guys to get it. Sorry. So we have the first 3 boys, right? I just showed you Hunter is one of them. He passed his brother. I'm going to go back and show you how they entered the arena. I forgot that video. So that would help you give more, receive more context, right? These 2 boys wearing the backpacks, they're going to walk on past the tent. Hunter goes into the tent. Do you see that, guys? Can you see it? Can anybody see this? Put a 1 in the chat. We gotta walk through this slowly because some people just. I've been talking about this all week, and people keep going to the other section and they get lost. Did you notice the two boys walk past it? They kept on walking. And did you see Hunter go into the tent? Okay. Well, I don't want to badmouth anybody else that's here or not here. It's okay. Not everybody, is going to dig my message. It's okay. I'm okay with that. I don't, I'm like the Lone Ranger. It's all good. So, do you see? Put a 1 in the chat if you see the two guys. Okay, there's 3 guys in the front. Oh, let me go back. So you see these 3 guys that are walking? You see the one, they're closest to the tent, right? Okay, those 2 guys are going to walk on past the tent. You're going to see Hunter go inside the tent. Okay, I got to go back a little bit more. I caught the last 3 guys. Sorry. Okay, so here we go. Here's the 3 set of boys up front. Hunter is the tallest of them. Okay. All right. Okay, so check this out. You see these 2 boys, they keep walking down. You see that, guys? And you see Hunter goes in the tent. You see that? Put a 1 in the chat if you see the 2 boys walk on by the tent. And then Hunter goes and he sits down in the gap. I get what you're saying. I really do get what you're saying. I'm ready for it all, okay? I wouldn't do this if I wasn't ready for the storm, okay? I'm built for this, okay? But thank you for the heads up, and you can lock in with me. Thanks for catching my back. I appreciate that, though. Real talk. Okay, can I get some ones for the individuals that can see what's happening here? I know some people are afraid to answer. We'll have a little shot of water for you guys, okay? All right, so did you guys see it? Put a 1 in the chat. Okay, we have ones, okay? All right, more ones. Okay, thank you. So Hunter right now is bending. He's positioning to sit down in the tent. Look at him, guys. Now look, as Hunter is sitting down, now you have Austin and 2 other boys walking into the tent, right? Austin is going to go in the middle section. Okay, so we're not going to focus on Austin. I have to do this really slow so everybody can. I'm not calling people slow, but I want to focus on one person at a time. So I'm going to back it up. I want you to watch Hunter fully sit down. It's very important that you get this. Watch Hunter go into the gap right now. The other 2 boys walked on by. There's Hunter. He has white sneakers on. He sits down completely. Watch him. And the other boys sit in front of him. Okay? And you see his head. His head is moving in the gap. He dropped his head. He picks his head back up. That's Hunter. Do you guys see that? Can you blow it up on your phone? Did you see where Hunter sat? Right now, you can see Hunter's head in the gap. If you're on the television, I know you can see it now. You see Hunter in the gap? Put a 1 in the chat if you see Hunter sit down in the gap. Okay. Empress, you got it. Oh my God. You were a key person that I wanted to be able to understand this because I know I've seen you in different places. So it's good to see you're here tonight. It's nice that you're still here. Could have been anywhere, but you chose to be here tonight. A great place to be. Okay. All right. So now you guys saw Hunter sit down right in the gap. You see his little head. I see ones. Okay. Now we're going to go back. Forget about Hunter and the second group of boys. We're going to wind it back up. Okay. And the second group of boys, we're going to wind it back up. Okay. So now Hunter's walking into the tent. Now I want you to focus on these other three boys that are by the trash can. One has a backpack. As Austin steps up on the bleachers, you're going to be able to see his black top and he has on shorts. Okay, he's going to stand out. And not only that, he's going to go and sit in the middle of the tent. Now, keep in mind, right, according to the narrative that's online, that these guys don't sit down. They go and surround Karmelo. We already saw Hunter sit down, folks. And now I'm going to show you that the rest of the boys sit down too. All right, let's get to it. There's Hunter. Austin, I'm sorry. Austin with the shorts. He goes and he sits over in the same section where you're going to see him come from to attack Karmelo. Did you see that? You see where Austin went, guys? He went right by the pole. Put a 1 in the chat if you saw Austin go sit by the he went in, you can't really make out exactly, but he went into the middle of the tent. Put a 1 if you saw that so we can move on. If not, I'll show it to you again. Okay, Gold Digger's with me, the Rebel. I know the Rebel sees it. She's on the television. Okay, guys, so already we have a problem. Okay? We have a serious problem in America. People cannot be honest about what they see. Already we have a problem because these guys sat down. They're not standing up surrounding anybody. That's right. His leg is right by the pole. Thank you, the Rebel. Okay. So, guys, check this out. According to we're going to call it the urban myth, that 4 individuals walked into the tent. They attacked Karmelo. He's sitting there. My argument is Karmelo is not in the tent right now. I'm going to show you, and that's why nobody came to get the $1,000 that I offered. Where you at? Come get the money. Nobody showed up. Okay? So now, according to the courtroom testimony, okay? I got to go through this because even people that were in court can't even figure it out. What are we doing? 9:54, Austin and Hunter arrives in the tent. At 9:56, Karmelo arrives. That's 2 minutes later. So guess what, guys? I'm going to start running the clock right now. I'm going to show you in 2 minutes that Karmelo is going to walk through, okay, from the back of the tent, and he's going to sit down behind where you saw Hunter sit. Now, here's the key part that you have to understand. This camera that we're seeing is the east camera, okay? So this is the east camera covering the east side of the arena. The west camera shows Karmelo walking in, okay? So you have 2 different camera frames, and I think people are getting lost in the sauce because they don't realize that. But again, in 2 minutes, now we're going to start the clock. In 2 minutes, I'm going to show you, and I'm going to blow it up for you. I'm going to show you where Karmelo walks in through the back of the tent. Okay? That's also witness testimony. One witness says exactly that Karmelo came from the side of the tent. Okay? So here we go. Put a 1 in the chat if you understand now that Hunter is sitting right in the dab smack of the middle of where the gap used to be. Put a 1 there if you could see his little head under the right side of the tent. Put a 1 in the chat if you're with me now. Hopefully everybody's with me. If not, we can go back and help you out some more. Put a 1 in the chat if you could see where Hunter is sitting. I showed you exactly how he walked up. Now listen, guys, 20 seconds. Okay, so sorry. The clock starts right now. Okay? Now, these boys are sitting down. They're not circling anybody. Look, the clock is going by. Somebody just got up to walk, okay? You saw that? but he sat back down. Okay. So we're almost at 20 seconds when they say, oh, the fight breaks out. There's no fight. Because guess what? In 2 minutes, Carmelo's going to walk in. And I'm going to show you him walking in. He's going to sit down right behind Hunter. Okay. So I would say now we probably have another minute and a half to go. And I'm going to show you exactly when Karmelo walks in and sits down behind Hunter. Okay. We have to wait these minutes, but I'm going to show you when Karmelo walks in, and I'm going to show you a close-up so we really get it. I have a close-up too. Okay, so we're getting to the point where Karmelo is going to walk into the tent. Okay, you see a guy on the right side, he comes down. He's just living his life, minding his business. But in a few seconds, we're going to see Karmelo walk in from the back. You'll be able to see he has a backpack on. And he's going to sit down. Actually, you know what? I'm sorry, guys. Did I miss it already? Because I'm seeing, hold on one second. I just want to make sure. Okay, here we go. All right. I got to go back here. Sorry, guys, I did this, but I think I was talking. Okay, so we're going to start this over. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. I'm going to show you guys real quickly again. All right. Let's see. Okay, so I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, here we go. Let me take this out, put it back in. Give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. I want to show you Hunter going in again. I'm sorry. There's Hunter walking into the tent. You see him sitting down? Okay. So that's Hunter sitting down. And then you see Austin go to the middle of the tent. So now we're going to start the clock. I was talking so much, I went past when Karmelo walked in. So you see the little head there? That's Hunter. Okay, so in 2 minutes, we're going to see Karmelo walk in and sit behind Hunter. And this time, I'm just going to wait for it to happen instead of explaining. Let's go. Okay. Okay. As far as what does surrounded mean, was there anybody to Melo's left or behind him? Melo is not in the tent right now. Okay, so that's the whole point. You can't surround a guy that's not even in the tent. Okay. All right. So in 2 minutes, you're going to see Karmelo walk in. He's going to sit behind Hunter. Okay. Okay, so wait a minute, guys. You're going to see Karmelo walk in and sit behind Hunter. This time, I'll make sure I point it out for you. We're almost there. Then I'm going to show you a close-up version. Here he goes. There's Karmelo walking in, sitting behind Hunter. Just like they said in court 2 minutes later. Let me bring it back up right here. You see that movement behind? Look in the very back row of the tent. Courtroom testimony is that Karmelo wasn't even under the tent. He sat on the back row beyond the tent partially. They said he partially could have been under maybe his feet. Okay. So guys, check this out. Watch Karmelo walk in. I'm going to show you from different angles. He walks in and he sits right behind where I showed you Hunter sat. You see that boy walking in there? You see the motion? Okay, you can see a backpack. I'm gonna show you close up though. All right, so now let me show you this. You can see Karmelo walk in and sit behind Hunter. I'm gonna show you different styles of video. Okay? See that movement? For this video, it's hard. I'm gonna show you another close-up version of it too. I'm going to show you from a different source. So give me a minute. I have to pull it up, guys. I have to pull up her video. But give me 1 second. And I'm going to pull this up for you. I'm going to show you from a different source as well. Okay. Okay, guys. So check this out right here. Let's see, how can I get this to show? Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to show you. Here's another explanation of how Karmelo walks in and sits down behind Hunter. Check it out.
Criminal scene is admissible in court as consciousness of guilt. And that's exactly what was argued, because we can all see that's what it is with our own damn eyes. We're about to show you 3 critical up-close videos of what happened under the tent. These were enhanced by Robbie Harvey, a true crime social media journalist on X. In this close-up video at the top of the tent, you see Karmelo Anthony walk in and sit down under the tent where the murder occurred. Karmelo runs.
All right, you guys see that clear? Right? Phil, did you catch that? This is a good view, and she's explaining how Karmelo walks in. This is the exact point that we are in the video, okay? So here you have another source explaining that Karmelo walks in. Check it out. Let me back it up a little bit. Put a 1 in the chat if you're with me so far and you understand what she's saying here. Put a 1 in the chat.
These were enhanced by Robbie Harvey, a true crime social media journalist on X. In this close-up video at the top of the tent, you see Karmelo Anthony walk in and sit down under the tent where the murder occurred. Karmelo runs for another team.
She does a good job. They blowed it up, right? Okay, so I've taken you guys to this point. Oh, Rich Block got it. Thank you, Rich. Not that I was doubting you, but it's very important that people that follow this channel are starting to really see that I'm very honest in what I'm telling you guys. So for one more time, right? We want to show, oh, Empress got it too. Good job. What about, let's see, the Rebel. Where is the Rebel? Because you're watching it on television. Are you still with me? Let's see if the Rebel has it. Okay, so anyway, check it out. She's explaining. Now, I've taken you guys to this point in the video, and now she's explaining that Karmelo arrives. Check it out. And sits behind. He sits right behind Hunter, because that's going to be very important when they start fighting. Hunter is sitting right in front of Karmelo. And that's going to help you understand the whole element of how this fight developed, okay? You guys can thank me later, but one day it's going to be very beneficial for you to know that. Check it out what she says.
All see that's what it is with our own damn eyes. We're about to show you 3 critical up-close videos of what happened under the tent. These were enhanced by Robbie Harvey, a true crime social media journalist on X. In this close-up video at the top of the tent, you see Karmelo Anthony walk in and sit down under the tent where the murder occurred. Karmelo runs for another team. Again, there was no reason.
So there you have it, folks. It doesn't get much clearer than that, does it? Right? Yeah, that's right. Gold digger. It looks like Karmelo is sitting 1 step above. That's courtroom testimony, gold digger. He sat right behind Hunter. And most of the kids that came in, they said Karmelo was sitting right behind Hunter. So I've shown you guys on video. It's very important if you're going to follow this channel that you guys at least understand that I'm giving you the solid truth. And I can also back it up. Now you see why nobody came to get the $1,000 that I offered, right? Are you guys with me? Yeah, it explains why he ran out so fast, the rebel. It explains what, see, the rebel, I knew why you were so important to this channel. He's sitting free and clear. Nobody's sitting behind Karmelo, but Karmelo is sitting behind Hunter. And that's right, Murray. Why are people acting like he was inside the tent? He was never inside the tent. That's courtroom testimony, right? I'm telling you guys, I go to court. I'm not in there just playing games. These people are trying to make me look crazy, right? But I guarantee you, if you were here tonight and you sat through this, now you're starting to get the picture, right? If you're starting to get the picture, right? James, I can't help you. You're the one that has to maintain that storyline. I can't help you with that. That whole story, anybody here tonight that's seen this breakdown, they're going to have a hard time believing that 4 boys, including the twins, walked into the tent, surrounded Karmelo, who was not even there. You know what I'm saying, James? Come on, you got to come off it, brother. I'm trying to set you free. That's right, Gold Digger. Look like the outskirts of a tent, maybe legs in. That's what the courtroom testimony is, Gold Digger. The rebel says they said it in court. He wasn't all the way under the tent. That's what I've been saying. That's right. Harlem says it too. Everybody here tonight seems to get the picture, but people are misleading the world. They're misleading people. Okay, I want you guys to tell me, did you see the twins sit down under the tent? Put a 1 in the chat if you've seen that the twins went and sat down, right? We saw Hunter sit down, right? You saw where Austin went over midway to the tent, right? Put a 1 in the chat if you clearly see that. Put a 1 in the chat, right? If you saw Karmelo walk in, they're trying to say, oh, it's just a blob. Well, I'm going to show you when the fight kicks off that Austin goes over and he grabs that same blob. So now we're getting it from different angles, right? I hate that I have to do this. Typically in this case, or in cases that I cover something once and I don't even get much pushback. You know? Thank you, Empress. Thank you. But you have to wonder why people are doing this, right? Especially if a person was in court and they come out and they speak about this to the masses and they get it wrong. Why is that the case, right? What's the point, right? You have to wonder about these things. Anyway, one last time for those that may have been in the bathroom section. And then we're going to move on. The next thing I'm going to show you is really going to sink this whole narrative. Watch this out. But let's get through this.
We're about to show you 3 critical up-close videos of what happened under the tent. These were enhanced by Robbie Harvey, a true crime social media journalist on X. In this close-up video at the top of the tent, you see Karmelo Anthony walk in and sit down under the tent where the murder occurred. Karmelo runs for another team. Again, there was no reason for him to be inside that tent, and he knew it was provocative to do this. A few minutes later, you see Austin Metcalf get up and move next to where Karmelo Anthony is seated. Witnesses say Austin was trying to get Anthony to leave the team's tent.
Okay, so now when you see Austin get up to attack, he goes right to that head. Okay, I'm going to show you from a clearer video in a few minutes, but we're gonna get to the fight a little bit later. I want to keep this in sequence. All right, so we're going to go back to the original video. I've shown you guys when Karmelo arrived. So now we're going to go back to the video. I'm going to show you on this video Karmelo walking in again. Okay, you see him walking in the back of the tent. Check it out. He sits down. Okay, so now Karmelo's in the tent. I'm going to try to draw this out for you guys to help you to understand a little bit better. Okay. Now, in the court, they showed us that in a lot of the witnesses in their testimony, they said that there was words going back and forth. Eddie tried to say Karmelo said, "You guys suck ass." Different guys are saying that they were all asking Karmelo to leave, and you have all these different angles, right? All of this goes on for 4 to 5 minutes. Okay, they're talking back and forth, and then the fight begins, right? So guess what, guys? When I was in court, I saw Karmelo walk in like they showed us. Then they said the next thing we would see would be the fight. Well, guess what? It took a whole 4 or 5 minutes of us sitting in court waiting for the fight to kick off, right? So that's what's going to happen now. Now Karmelo just sat down. I'm going to click play, and we have to wait 4 minutes for the fight to happen. Watch this. I just started the clock. So look at your watch, and I want you guys to count 4 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. And then all of a sudden, you're going to see the fight kick off. And then, according to the courtroom testimony, in 5 seconds of fighting, you're going to see Karmelo run out of the back of the tent. And you're going to see Hunter run behind him. Okay? I'm going to do the perspectives of the altercation. Okay. Everybody has a different angle, but I'm going to break it down for you guys. But first, we need to get through the timeline. That's what's so important here. Okay? So somebody just came in and said, is this the Karmelo is guilty channel? I want you guys to answer that person in the chat and explain to them that this is not a Karmelo Anthony guilty channel. Explain to that person what this channel is all about, because obviously they came through an open door. Okay? Somebody left the door open. We're going to zoom in a minute, guys. But first, we got to get through the timeline. We're waiting 4 minutes for the fight to happen. That's what we're doing right now. Okay, we're going to zoom in a minute. All right, so for those of you in the chat, Phil, everybody else, right? Are you with me that we're sitting through the 4 minutes? Are you getting the point that it takes 4 minutes? It takes time before the fight starts. Okay, I love you forever says this is dumb and you're out of here. Okay. Blessings to you. Somebody else did it. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Thank you. Okay, so we're waiting for the 4 minutes. You see time. We were sitting in court waiting for this fight to happen. Okay. The fight hasn't happened yet, right? Because they're in the tent, they're arguing, they're going back and forth, just like the courtroom testimony said. There's no surrounding. These boys are sitting down. Look how long the boys have been sitting down already. They're not surrounding somebody beating them. Now you see why people don't like my message. It's because the truth dispels all the rumors, right? Okay, so we're still waiting, guys. Still waiting for the fight. They're sitting down. Do you guys see that? They're not standing up. Oh, they're surrounding them. Oh my God, they're surrounding Karmelo. My God. No, they're not surrounding Karmelo. Yes, that's right, the rebel. They're sitting there talking smack to each other. And then after 4 minutes, right? 4 to 5 minutes, you're going to see the fight start. And then we're going to stop it. And I'm going to zoom in on the fight for you. Okay. So look, this is what I was doing in court, guys. I was sitting here waiting for the fight to start. And I'm like, well, when is this fight going to kick off, you know? It's been like 5 minutes or 6 minutes already that the boys had arrived. Karmelo arrived 2 minutes later, so they're just going in. Okay, it's about to kick off now. You can actually see Austin standing up. And you're going to see Austin go grab that same head that went and sat down behind Hunter. That's how you know. That's how you can put it together from different ways, folks. Check it out. That's what this channel is about. This channel is not about selling you some smoke. This channel right here, here's the fight. You see that? And Karmelo runs out the back. Boom. Now, keep looking. You see where Karmelo was sitting? Now you see Hunter standing up. Now you see Hunter standing up in that spot because before Karmelo ran out, they both were one blob. But now that Karmelo ran out the back, now you see Hunter standing up. And guess what? Now you're going to see Hunter run out the back of the tent, like I told you. But then he hear his brother yell, and he hooks back, and he comes back down the left side of the tent. He stopped. This is courtroom testimony. He stopped chasing Karmelo when he heard his brother scream that he got stabbed. And that's what we just saw. He started running out of the tent. You see, nobody was sitting behind Karmelo because he came in and sat behind Hunter. So when Karmelo got up and ran, Hunter had a free easement to run out the back behind him. You see that? That's right. I'm in sync with it. Anybody intelligent is going to pick this up easy, right? They're going to pick this up easy. Most people I share this with, they get it on the first spin, right? They get it on the first spin. All right. I'm not here to push anything about an edited video and a duplicate video. Maybe somebody saw that. I'm not here to dispute people that saw a different video. I'm just trying to make sense of this video that they released. Okay. That's right, Rich. That's right. That's basically the breakdown. So let's go back. Okay. You're going to see Austin attack that same head, right? The same head that sat down behind Hunter. Check it out. Watch this. This is Austin right there. Boom. He attacks that head. He rocks back. Karmelo runs out. You see his head. Now you see Hunter standing up. You see Hunter in that space, guys. Put a 1 if you now see Hunter in the space where Karmelo was actually sitting behind him. Okay. Put a 1 if you could see Hunter in that spot, especially as he's going to run out of the back of the tent right now. Put a 1 if you can see it. Okay. Phil, you got it? Okay, great. Now I'm going to show you, for you that put the 1, right? Keep your eyes on Hunter. He's going to run up out of the back of the tent behind Karmelo. He's going to hear his brother scream, and he's going to circle back under the tent. You're going to see people falling because Austin is going to fall, and he's going to take down quite a few people with him. So watch this. I'm going to hit play. Watch Hunter run out of the back of the tent. Look at this. See his leg step up with his left leg. Can you see this, guys? He steps up with his left leg. Did you see that? Let's go back. Look at that spot. You see, I'm going to go all the way back to, okay, so here's the push. Boom. They rock back. Karmelo runs out the back. You see his head. Boom. Now you see Hunter in that open spot. He's standing, right? Now, when I click go, you're going to see him with his left leg. He's going to step up out of the back of the tent, going behind Karmelo. But according to the testimony, Austin lets out a big scream, and Hunter's going to circle back to the left side of the tent. He's going to stop chasing Karmelo. Then you're going to see Austin fall, and he's going to take out the people that are below him. Check it out. He steps up. That's Hunter. Boom. He comes back around. Everybody falls down. You see that? And then you see Karmelo running, and he's going to fall. Boom. And he takes off. This is courtroom testimony. I can't believe I had to do this 18 times already. You see that? Okay, so put a 1 in the chat if you're with me at this point. put a 1 in the chat if you finally got it that Karmelo came in after. Okay. Karmelo came in after he sat down behind Hunter. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, everybody's getting it. Okay, everybody's getting it. That's good. Okay. All right. So this is the reason why you guys see me going through this, because it's insanity, some of the narratives that we have out there, right? And I'm not knocking that somebody else saw something different, a different video. Yeah, that's right, the Rebel. I'm here to show you what really happened. You know what I mean? But for those of you that I see that you guys were here the whole time for my explanation, I'm glad that you guys are now free to see what I've been saying all week. It means a lot that you guys have captured this whole idea of who really came into the tent first. So I really do appreciate that. Let's see. 3 the Hard Way says, was that the lineman's drill hit? According to the testimony in court, he was hit with a lineman's drill. Okay. All right. So anyway, so that gives you probably a good perspective on what happened in regards to this whole situation with now I want to get back. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Okay. If you have any questions about what we went over. Oh, that's right. I have to show you guys the blown up video. Give me 1 second. Okay, so here's the video. Let's see here. Okay, so now we're going to look at this close up, all right? That's right. He wasn't under the tent. Thank you, Harlem, New York. My fellow New Yorker gets it. Okay. All right. This all came out in court. I don't know what you're talking about, CMP, but you can't push misinformation on this channel. Okay, guys. So check it out. This is the blown up version of the fight. Okay, here we go. Here, remember I told you Karmelo came and sat behind Hunter, right? We're going to go back. You're going to see Austin hit that head. Boom, push his head back. That's the lineman's drill or whatever was being described in court. Jay said it was 2 hands, right? That's the testimony. Some people in court said it was a light push, like a light touch rather, right? Light push. Okay, so you can come to your own conclusion in regards to that. Okay. Now let's let it play. Boom. Now you're going to see right there. Now you see Hunter standing up where Karmelo ran out from. Let me play it back for you. Okay, watch this. He hits his head. That's Karmelo. He hits. Karmelo runs up. You see Carmelo's head. Now you see the gray sweater. What about the people that said the guy that was sitting back there didn't have on a gray sweater? Now you see the gray sweater. I couldn't wait to show you in this moment. Somebody started this show saying, well, that guy sitting in the back, he didn't have on a gray sweater. Where you see the gray hoodie. He has the hoodie on, it appears, right? Folks, what are we doing? Why are we spreading misinformation? Hopefully tonight I set you free. Now, you see in the same place where this guy wearing a gray hoodie ran out from, now you see another guy standing there. And check this out. He's running out behind him. Did you see that? That's Hunter running behind Karmelo. Look at his legs. You see his legs, folks? You see his arms? That's Hunter in the gap chasing after the guy that stabbed his brother. Okay? At least that's what they're trying to argue in court. I'm here to tell you that there's more to this than meets the eye. And you're going to find out soon enough that more happened to Karmelo than was told in court. But anyway, let's watch this again. Here Austin hits Karmelo, okay? The guy he hits, right? For those of you who refuse to believe the truth, watch Karmelo run up beyond the tent. He has on a gray sweater. The hood is on his head. Can you see it? What do I have to do to convince people, right? Okay, so check this out. So you see Hunter now standing in that spot. He was previously sitting in front of Karmelo. Now Karmelo moved. Now watch Hunter run up behind him. Check it out. Look at it. You see that? There you have it. Okay. So if you're with me, put a 1 in the chat. Okay. If you understand, I kind of went through all of this now. I think I've shown you guys that that's Karmelo based on the yellow sweater. I guess you guys could agree that he had on a hoodie, right? Right? That's right. His head and his body rocked. That's right. They tried to say in court it was a light, but you could see in the video. Okay, so we're starting to get people that understand what I'm saying. It's very important because you guys follow this channel, right? You want to follow somebody that's going to court. Listen, guys, I flew all the way from New York to Dallas. Then I had to drive another, seemed like an hour, right? I'm going to court every day, you know, for the prosecution. I even went on a Saturday, right? Just to come back and tell you a false narrative? There's no way. And even if you look at the screen right now, what does Karmelo have on? He has on a gray sweater, and you can see he has on some dark pants, right? Do you guys see that? Okay. You see that, guys? That's Karmelo. That's Karmelo. You could easily go and find out what he was wearing the day of the incident. When they show us the other view of the arena, they show you when Karmelo walks in, he has on a gray hoodie, right? So I had to go through this all over again to show you guys who was in the tent first. It was not Karmelo, right? And I want to thank you guys for sticking around. I guess a lot of people hadn't been sticking around when I go through this. But tonight, you guys, I see a lot of ones in the chat, right? That's amazing that you guys are starting to get it. I'm not the one. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm not the individual that's going to start promoting, oh, there's another video, all this video talk, because I see what I heard in court in this video. You know what I mean? What are we doing, right? It's a shame that I have to keep doing this. I've never had to do this before. Typically, I would have moved on from this case and maybe covered only updates, right? Yes, this video shows someone placing, no, I'll put it back up. The video that shows someone putting something in the trash, I'll show you that. Let me find that video. Let's see, I think this is it. Yeah, nope, this is not it. Let me put that video back up. Give me 1 second. Okay, here's the video. And you want me to show the part where they put something in the trash? It's going to be right as Karmelo is running down. Let's see if I can find it. Let me find Karmelo running out the back first. Okay, here's Karmelo. I think you're going to see the guy put something in the trash right now. Okay, I think you're going to see that right now. See that? He dropped something in the trash, so that's for you. I think it was the Rebel, right? Was that you that asked for that? Okay, so that's that. All right, so we covered so much tonight. I went over quite a bit of information, but tonight I'm here to tell you that you're going to be shocked to find out that all the information about Karmelo did not come out in court. I can't tell you too much, but all I can tell you is there's a high probability that he was hit by more than one person. Okay, that's all I'm going to tell you for now. But just remember this day when you find out the truth, because you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. For some of you, when you find out what's coming down the pipeline, you're still going to say, well, you know, he still should have got 35 years, right? But a lot of people are not going to have it. they're going to say, well, if he was hit by other people, why did it not come out in court? So I started off asking, why didn't Karmelo speak up for himself? I also started off asking you guys that if it is true and you find out that he was actually having more hands put on him, right? Which is very likely, what's going to be your position? That's what this show started off as being. But I end up having to show you guys that Karmelo arrived after Hunter and Austin. And I'm glad so many people got it, but that wasn't the main point of this show. The main point of this show is to let you know that when the real truth comes out, and I wouldn't be here talking to you if I didn't know some solid information. So just remember this night, because you're going to say, wow, this guy, he really knows what he's talking about. And on top of that, he showed us who really came into the tent properly. When the truth is in the air, it's hard to get people to pay attention, right? But if I start telling you guys that, yeah, oh, they jumped that poor boy, and look at here, they surrounded him, and there comes Superman. He lifts up the tent and he flew off with it. Man, it'll be a different arena around here. It'll be so packed. But because I'm putting out the truth and I'm showing you the facts, folks, I offered $1,000. That $1,000 still stand right now. If you can come on here and show me that Karmelo was in the tent before the twins arrived, then you can have your money. I'll have it to you before you can turn your head around. Okay? Okay. So I cover many cases. This is just another case that I cover. And I happen to get hung up on this case because of misinformation. And I get it. People get upset. They're frustrated because, you know what it's like? You know what these people are like? It's like when you watch The Wizard of Oz and you have Dorothy and these individuals, they follow the yellow brick road, follow the yellow brick road. And then you get to Oz and there's a little white man behind a curtain giving you some bullshit. You know what I mean? That's what it's like. So people get frustrated with me because I'm pulling down the curtain and showing you that, wait, these boys sat down. The whole timeline you believe, there's a whole nation of people out there saying something that didn't even happen. Doesn't that bother you? For those of you who really capture what I'm saying, doesn't it bother you though? You see how this takes away from Karmelo, and people are saying that they're there to help Karmelo, and they can't even get their facts together? I was on the Black Lawyers podcast today, and I dropped some serious gems. So when you see this it's more of a produced show. But when you see the show and how I break it down with an attorney that goes with me to court, she covered Diddy with me. She was like, Mel, when you say something, I know you took great notes. Let me tell you how sharp I was at this trial, right? When the body cam footage came out, in fact, why don't I show it to you real quick? It's been a long day, but I'm going to show it to you. I can show you better than I can tell you. So give me 1 second, everybody. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you guys the body cam footage. And I'm going to show you that I wrote this in my notes. This is how thorough my notes are. I had some key people here tonight that I really wanted to understand. I wanted them to see that I'm on top of my game. And those people happen to be here tonight, and I'm so amazed by it because they know a lot more about who's pushing the wrong narrative. And for them to be able to come on here and now see the light means a lot to me. And I want to thank you for being here and taking the time to sit through, because some people, they don't take the time, because it pulls down the curtain at the land of Oz, and you think you're going to get a brain, you think you're going to get a heart, and then you get there and you find out it's just a false narrative, right? All right, let me put this on for you guys. I want to show you guys this here. Now, I was the first person, I didn't see anybody else talking about this. I'm going to show you this right here. Check this out, guys. Check it out. Now, I have to take down the chat from the screen. Now, check this out. Do you guys see this? I was the first person to point this out, but this is Officer Cortez body cam. And look at the timestamp. The day of this event was April the 2nd, 2025, right? And look at the date on his body cam, February the 10th, 2016. I came out and I showed that to you guys right out of court. But they also told us in court that the timestamps would be off. But I'm saying most people, when they're taking notes or they observe in court, they don't really go that deeply and look at the timestamps and, yeah, that's right, the rebel. Okay, you remember me talking about that. Thank you. So now you know what happens, the rebel? Now that you sat through tonight and you see that people are giving you a bunch of nonsense at times, the next time I cover a case, you're going to be more inclined to want to say, yeah, I got it from a guy that really knows his stuff. I can't wait for the transcripts to come out, because you're going to see people spread like mustard. That's what you're going to see. When the transcripts come out, you're going to see what I heard in court, right? There's enough in the video. You don't have to go adding, taking away. You don't have to do all that. It fits the narrative from court, and there's something in the narrative that's extremely off. Okay? And you're going to find this out pretty soon in regards to Karmelo Anthony. And I'm just telling you now, what are you going to do when you find out? Is it going to make a difference in regards to this case? All right. So let's see if there's any more questions before we close out. Again, I will be taking my key followers on a trip to Egypt. Today, I went and invested in an amazing 4K camera that you're going to be able to see almost as clear, potentially, as though you're there. All right. That's my way of giving back to all the people that support this channel. So hopefully you'll see the pyramids just as clear as I'll see them. Okay. It's going to be amazing. Let's see what the people are saying. And let me put the comments back up. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, but I'm going to take as many comments as I can. Let's see here. Okay. X says, question. I don't know if I misremembering info, but then you say one of the witnesses said there may have been one other person involved. One other person involved. The witnesses in this case, they place Hunter as being seated. A few of them, one said he was a couple feet behind Austin as he approached. So we don't have anyone saying that Hunter hit Karmelo. Okay, so that's a key ingredient. And these are the same people that said that Eddie wasn't really talking to Karmelo, and that was debunked. Okay, these same people place Hunter as not being involved. He was the righteous one, if you will. Okay, so I'll leave it at that. Okay, all right. All right, let's see here. We have the Rebel says, serious question. Can we really trust the transcripts given the nature of how much they tried to cover up allegedly? That's a tricky question, and that's a good question. I won't know until I really see him because I do have my notes. I remember some things, so you'd have to ask me after I take the time to go through the transcripts. I believe anything is possible. So I'm not naive to believe that something couldn't go wrong, but from what I've seen in covering cases, typically the transcripts are completed by a third party that has to get paid. And usually you can follow the transcripts, all right? But again, anything is possible, okay? But I'm not one to really push a narrative like, oh, they're definitely going to be edited. I have a wait and see attitude, okay? Lola says, you speak in a way to make people think, so I can't be mad because I think we're saying the same thing, okay? All right. All right. Philip says, it's probably the firmware issue that the camera related to the other body. Yeah, that's what we learned in other cases. That's why the body camera is often off. So we in other cases we get explanations, so I understand it. But it's just a little point that I wrote down just to help the viewers to understand, because maybe you didn't get a chance to see the video, right? It came out, but if you hadn't seen it, you would know that little detail. I think some people appreciate that. Okay, Jane says, get paid for spinning certain narratives. Okay, I'm not sure what that's about. Okay, I don't know who gets paid for spinning a narrative. Okay, the Rebel says, I've been in and out so much I can't catch everything. I'm catching up. Okay, good to see you here. Thank you for everything. And thank you for watching on the television. Thank you very much. Okay, let's see here. Did Karmelo get pushed into someone and they pushed him back off? Okay. In the video, I'll let the video speak for itself. So I'll do that for you right now. Let me play the video. Okay, I'm going to go back. Now, when he gets pushed, I want you to see who he gets pushed into. You see that? So I want you to answer, who did Karmelo get pushed into? That's him, pushed him, boom, boom. Who did you see Karmelo hit? I want you to answer your own question. Okay, Jane, could you answer that for us? Who did he get pushed into? You can see it very clearly. Well, not clearly, but you get the idea what's there. Okay. The Rebel says those who have good notes can cross-reference. Yes, yes, yes. Rich Block says Hunter gave the tap on the shoulder when approaching the tent. Mel, okay. And the giveaway that Karmelo was already under the canopy. The truth will set you free. Okay. A red flag, okay. And a giveaway that Karmelo was already under the canopy. Okay, Rich, where was he at under the canopy? Can you articulate that for us? Tell us where he was. Okay, the Rebel says, are they releasing the transcripts yet? Not yet. No, not yet. Okay, Eddie set it up. They need to explain his text messages to Hunter. Okay. Jane says, I'm asking about the testimony. Okay, let me see. I'm sorry, Jane. Let me go back. Did Karmelo get pushed into someone? Okay. As far as the testimony, no. Okay, the answer is no. Okay, Emperor says, I think the cell phone and text records should have been subpoenaed. They're going to tie it into the case. Okay, that's a great point. I wondered the same thing. Lola says, push into someone who was standing. You see someone standing? You see someone standing? Okay, the Rebel says, Eddie's entire iCloud needs to be handed over. That's so true. So true. Wasn't done. I don't know why. The rebel says, what text messages to Hunter? You would have to ask the person that just posted that as far as those text messages, okay? Probably came through a different source, okay? Rich says Hunter was texting Eddie. That's why he was behind and running to catch up and tapped his brother on the shoulder. Okay, that's not in court. Okay, Phil says, but you don't get subpoena power in appeals court. Okay, thank you for the background information, Phil. Lola says that's why his body rocked Mel. Exactly. Thank you very much for that. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for your comments, everybody. I can't reach everybody because even though I show the video, there's always, I can't even focus on that. I think I've had enough of this. I think I've shown it. The key people that needed to see this, I think they're here tonight. And they were able to really sit through the entire show and see how all of this played out by the 15-minute video, right? The long video. Jane says, so Karmelo never stood up. Who was standing over him? Okay. My answer to that is nobody. Karmelo, you mean behind him, beside him? You know that Austin was standing over him when he approached him. Okay, so we can make that argument. You could also question whether Hunter was standing over him. Okay, because he was sitting in front of him. And if he stood up, you could make that a rightful question. Okay. The rebel says, but as far as standing behind him or beside him the entire time, there was no one there. Okay. And you can see it in the video. The rebel says, I still want to know what you think about the trash can situation. The trash can situation, I don't know what that was about. It wasn't mentioned in court. So I think everybody has a right to private speculation about it. But I don't want to give what I actually think about it because that's just too much of my opinion. I'm trying to stay as close to, what happened, things that I could tie to court tonight. Okay. All right. Rich says, thanks for letting us know what you saw in court. The truth is always the best policy. Okay. All right. Is there any more questions before we close out tonight? I wanted to do this final live for you guys before I take my journey. All right. John says, I'm working on video syncing side by side when they all enter. How can I send it to you? Watching the World 777 at gmail.com. I don't think I have any moderators. Yeah, I do. I have Gold Digger here tonight. Okay. Jane says, did the knife have an M on it? I see that. I leave that in the realm of private speculation. Okay. All right. And I didn't even get too deeply into it, but I know where that's coming from. But I can't really speak on that part. I just try to focus on what's in court and what I've heard. Thank you, Murray. And also what's in the video. And that's what I put out tonight. Okay. D-Book says, was there two separate knives shown in the court? And did they have the actual weapon in court? So they started off with this whole knife deal. They showed us a picture of it in the bleachers. And then they showed us how it was covered up by a blue tarp, I believe. And then they showed us a picture of the knife where the blade was 3.5 inches. And that's when I came out of court and I told you guys that some of these stations, the big stations, said the blade was 5 inches, but in court we saw it was 3.5 inches. And the defense says that as long as it's under 5.5 inches, that is not illegal, right? So I came back and I told you that. In court, when they showed the artifacts, right, typically they show the real knife. But in this particular case, they showed us what was supposed to be a replica. And basically, because of the prosecutor I think his name is Worski. He said he didn't want to have to put gloves on. So that was his explanation as to why. Okay. Okay. So that's it for that. I hope that gives you some clarification. Thank you, the Rebel. Okay. Gold Digger says, James, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God. Thank you, Gold Digger. Thank you, Jane, for the traveling grace. Okay, Rich. Yes, another red flag, Rich. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Gold Digger, for putting up the email. Thank you very much for all the support. You've been rocking out with me continuously. You've been helping me get through this, especially on days when we have a big crowd. All right, is there any more questions? We had a long night. For those of you that are still struggling with who was in the tent first, if you go back and watch this show, it'll set you free. Because a lot of people started this show tonight thinking that Karmelo was under the tent first. And after we went through all the information, they put a 1 in the chat because they came to the realization that Karmelo came in 2 minutes after Hunter and Austin. And that's according to the courtroom testimony. All right, sounds good. Says the knife probably had body part. According to the courtroom testimony, it had blood and bone particles on it. Okay, thank you, Rich, for the salute and the safe travels. The Rebel says, at what point do you usually come out with your true opinions when covering these cases? When I feel like the case is completely done, I might give you my opinion of it. This case is just getting started. And as I told you guys, there's going to be some information coming out. And people are going to really understand that Karmelo Anthony could have been I'd say hit by more than one person. I'll use the word hit, okay? And when you see it for yourself, you'll be understanding why we're here tonight, all right? So just as I've been very honest with you guys, and I showed you guys the Karmelo situation that he came in a tent after, even though people are saying all the nonsense. The other part of what I'm saying tonight, when it comes true, you guys are going to say, wow, man, this guy was right. You know what I mean? So that's how we build credence, especially, you know, when you go on your channel, you just make up lies and bullshit around. You might start off doing well, but people that want truth, you know, they're not going to fall for the craziness that we see in the world today. And that's not a shot at anybody's channel or whatever. But I'm just telling you why on this channel, I try to keep integrity. And if you notice, even if people put things in the chat that are not true, I try to push back on it. Because a lot of this information is coming from just random places, and we're just trying to find the truth, okay? Okay, let's see. Gold Digger says, it's my humble pleasure sending good vibes. I know it. You're awesome. Thank you. The Rebel says, makes sense. Jane says, I pray those children have conscience and come forward and tell the truth. That's what I'm talking about. Shout out to Harlem, New York, my fellow New Yorker. Harlem, did you check out Jay-Z's exhibit? I wanted to go down, but let's see. I didn't get a chance to make it. Usually I try to cover everything that Jay-Z does, you know. All right, let's see. Saturday, or Sat says, watching the world. Could those people just be touching the top of a garbage can, not putting in anything or taking out, sort of using it to stabilize as they ran down a watery walkway? That is possible. I will tell you what I thought, right? This is just speculation, and my guess is just as good as yours. There is an argument that somebody involved could have put something in the trash can temporarily. Okay, I get it. But we would need to substantiate that some way or whatever, right? That's what the cops are for, the detectives. But I've seen individuals when they think the police are coming, so something happens and now you know the feds are coming, you know the police are going to pull up. So what do people do? They start getting rid of any weed they have on them, right? They go throw it in the trash, and then when the police leave, they go back and get it. So you get, these are kids, right? If Karmelo had that tool on him that the prosecution labeled as a knife, maybe other people had the same thing. Who knows, right? But I can't just outrightly just say, oh, yeah, these people had something to do with this. I would need more information. I think that's fair to say, right? Is that fair to say? The Rebel says, do you mind posting the podcast on your community wall? The podcast on, from today? Yes, I did already. It's on there. I told everybody, but she produced it, so it'll be out on Friday. She does her channel differently. So on Friday, it'll be released as a video. D-Book says, but it was two different colored knives the news showed on the bleachers. One had more blood on it than the other. They planned in that court. Thanks for telling what you saw. I get what you're saying. Here's the thing, though, right? I will say this, because I peeped this. I saw this when I came out of court. So in court, they showed us the knife that eventually we saw come out with the exhibits. That's why I was telling everybody, if you remember me telling you this, put a 1 in the chat. Maybe somebody's here. But I was telling you that the knife in court actually had a wider blade, right, than the one that everybody was putting up, the 6-in-1. So when you actually had a chance to see the real exhibit, you see that that knife was very unique, okay? But a lot of the mainstream media was putting out a 6-in-1 tool that was different even than the replica that they had in court, right? I would challenge that the replica they had in court was not even a real duplicate exactly of the knife that we see in the picture, okay? I would need to see it more, but from what I could see, I was sitting right on the front row of the gallery, so I could see things, and I'm like, well, that doesn't look like the knife in the picture, okay? So for my homeboy Rich over here, my good buddy, there's another red flag for you, all right? So anyway, it is what it is, okay? All right, Harlem says, not a Jay-Z fan. Okay, I get it. Not as a person, but I've always followed the music over the years. Okay. All right. Sat says, watching the world, once somebody raises the idea and an object went into the trash, we forget they could have just been bracing themselves. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, we have Elizabeth in the house. Shout out to you, Elizabeth. I was looking for you. Says Mel, you had a guest last night that was so unprofessional, acting bullish and cussing, and in a screaming fashion. I was so sad and disappointed. She's on every week on Thursday night. You probably have never seen her before. Her name is Mama Flips, and she's not always like that, but she speaks her mind. So it's not for everybody. I'm not for everybody, but she has her. A lot of people look forward to that show, so everybody has their own flavor and taste, and that's just all I could say about it. But I hear you. The Rebel says, okay, I'll try to check it out. Okay, thank you. All right, so a lot of people remember me saying that, okay, and I guarantee you're going to remember what I'm saying tonight, that you're going to be shocked to find out that Karmelo was more than likely hit by more than one individual, okay? Now, I know it's hard for you to believe it and understand it, but believe you me, you're going to remember this night, okay? All right, so let's see. Sat, I'm only going to take a few more, then I'm going to be out. Says the photo is the 6-in-1, and the fact that it is sold as a multi-tool would help slightly Karmelo as compared to just one function. The defense did mention that in their opening arguments, but they didn't really, save him with it. They didn't draw it out like what I see typically when I cover cases in New York. Phil James says, is it common to not show the actual weapon? That's the first time I've ever experienced that. Usually they put the weapon, like even with Luigi Mangione, when I'm covering his case or whatever, Sean Diddy Combs, all the different artifacts they put in plastic bags, clear bags, they pass it around to the jury, let them see it. So that could have been done in this case, but for some reason they chose not to. I can't explain why. Okay, Sat says, seems it went down like Austin took away the bag to try to disarm Karmelo, but when he didn't realize Karmelo would still have it in his hand. Okay. That's not my interpretation of it. I have a different view that I've talked about so many times on the channel. But I respect how you feel. We all come to different conclusions, but we don't get to make up our own facts about who came into the tent first. We already went through those type of things. D Book says, did they show his photo where he had injuries to his face? No. They showed his mugshot, but there was no attention given to that issue that's under his right eye, right? I'm going to argue, I don't want to say too much, I'm going to argue that you're going to see how he got it and you're going to be shocked. It's coming down the pipeline, all right? Remember this night. All the things that I be telling you guys, right? All the things that I have been telling you guys. You see that it comes down the pipeline, right? So wait. I'm telling you, I'm limited in what I can say, but I just want to let the watchers know that when this information come out, it's going to be, you thought you saw some things happening, but it's also going to raise a lot of questions for Karmelo and why he didn't speak up for himself. Right? I don't speak on things that people tell me, right? I have to see something before I speak on it, because then I know when the pressure come, I can back it up. So there's a reason why I'm talking to you the way I'm talking to you tonight. So when the day come and you have your moment of clarity and you say, oh, wow, this is what he was talking about, hit me up and say, look, Mel, thank you for letting the watchers know ahead of time that there's some hair on this case. You know what I mean? It's growing a mustache now. It's a real problem. Okay? I know you hear the rumors that he got jumped. Notice now I'm not pushing back on that part. Okay? I'm giving you guys some real information here. Okay, Sad says, watching the world, if Hunter said Austin took away the bag, how does it fit the narrative? Hunter says he grabbed the bag. We have to be careful with words, okay? So, and this is nothing at you, but we have to be really sharp with the words. He said he grabbed the bag, okay? I've been up here a long time tonight. I have to travel, starting tomorrow. I'm behind schedule on packing. But Sat, since you have been here with me tonight, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to explain it for you. And then I'm going to have to call it a night. I'm going to try to breeze through the questions, but I'm going to do this for you for your support, okay? So SAT wants to know, if Hunter said Austin took away the bag, how does it fit the narrative, okay? And also I told you guys too, I was going to explain to you the different perspectives, okay? So let me break it down for you guys. And again, I'll be gone 2 weeks, but you guys will have me every day. We're going to be going through Egypt, and I'm going to be showing you. It's an education tour. So you're going to be able to hear the instructors. You're going to be very happy with what I'm doing for the watchers. All you have to do is like, share, and subscribe. A lot of people unsubscribe, right? Because they're not happy that I'm dropping the facts that Karmelo was not in the tent first. Okay? And you know what I say about people that left because of that reason? My grandfather used to say, no, No, okay, I'm sorry, guys. I can't be like my grandfather. I have to be better, okay? That was rude. I'm not going to say anything rude. So let's keep moving, okay? I'm going to answer the question from SAT or SAT, whatever you go by. Hunter in the video, sorry, guys, give me 1 second. In the video, and I'm going to really draw this out for you guys. This will be my last spin. I think we're going on. Oh, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Gee. Anyway, how did I do this? I didn't know it was 1 o'clock. Okay, so Hunter says they're in the tent. There's a boy that walks up and he's mumbling. And the boy that walks up and he says some terrible things to us and, whatever, right? He says that basically his brother went and grabbed his bag. And Hunter tells you he turned around, right? I'm going to break down the problem I have with that, but let me stick to the script. So, from if what he said was right, then my explanation, now that I know more information, I have to change my position. But I'll tell you what I used to say until I know what really happened. Okay? I thought before I found out what really happened, right? That Austin saw the bag fly and he thought that Austin grabbed the bag because Hudson said that Austin came in and that Karmelo was sitting. And I'm going to draw this out for you guys because I appreciate you guys for being here tonight. So Karmelo is sitting. He's 5'7", small frame. He's 130 pounds. So imagine he's sitting in a bleacher, right? Little guy. Austin is standing. He's 6'1". He's 225 pounds, according to what his mother said in the video with Hunter. She said he was 225 pounds, right? Coach Starr, that testified at the court case, for those of you who like little points and that want to compare me to the transcripts, I want to give you these points so you could say, yeah, he actually takes good notes, All right, so Coach Starr said he had gotten up to 220 pounds, okay? Carmelo's sitting in these bleachers, and Austin, according to what the guy said, the guy was 16 years old, little white fella. He says that Austin went over and he hit Karmelo with a lineman's drill. That's his words. Other stations have reported on it for those who have trouble believing me. Hit him with a lineman's drill. The guy that came in before him was a black guy. He just left for college. That day, his father sat right beside me. His son was on the stand. Because of where I sat that day in court, all the parents to the kids that took the stand would come and sit beside me. So I saw all the parents. It was Friday. It was the day that most of the kids came in. So I saw the mothers. The mothers sat beside me. One of them was a beautician. I could tell she was a beautician. Amazing people. One was Eddie's mother was amazing. She was nervous for him. I saw his mother. Things like that. I felt like I just felt for her because she was so nervous for her son. I could tell they have an amazing relationship. Just things I was picking up on, right? Okay, so at any rate, let me keep to the story. The guy named that came in, we'll call him Jay. He's the one that said that Austin grabbed Karmelo. You know what? Let me tell you guys this now. Now that I have more solid information, it's like these guys are telling the story, but they're seeing what really happened in their mind. I picked that up. I picked that up from a lot of these boys. They're actually telling you a narrative, kind of like people when they lie to their parents, right? I'm not talking about Jay right now. I'm just saying in general. They're seeing what really happened, but they have to stick to a narrative. So that's why when I see more facts now, I know what time it is, okay? But remember this night. So Jay says that that Austin grabbed him with two hands, Karmelo with two hands, and started, you know, what did he say? Like lifting him up, pulling him up. Toby Shook, who was a defense attorney, he basically had him quantify what he was saying. And it's like, is it more like a pull, a push? He was like, he was trying to, you know, um, pull him upward out of his seat. So that's why I was saying to you guys, are you really going to allow someone to pick you up out of your seat? So had Karmelo took the stand, we probably could have heard him say, listen, I felt like the guy was going to pick me out of my seat. Now, does that give him a right to do what he did? That's a whole different argument. So let's keep things separate here. I'm just here to answer a question. So I'm answering the question for SAT 1241 because Hudson is seeing a lineman's drill. That's so vivid because all these other kids the day before said it was a light push on the shoulder. Now we're getting a lineman's drill. Jay is saying that he's picking him up. Another guy named Tion is saying, I told Austin not to do it because I felt like Karmelo really had a knife. But he says that Austin says, oh, he doesn't have a knife because we're in Frisco, right? So sometimes life sends you a warning, right? Sometimes you have to heed the warning. That's a whole different factor. So I say all of that to say everybody had a different angle. Some of the kids testified that all they saw was Austin's back. So they couldn't even see, because you're sitting at an angle where Austin is blocking you from seeing Karmelo. All you see now is Austin go, and then he bounced back in 5 seconds, okay? Another guy sitting at a different angle. They all give you a different perspective. So this is my explanation for Hunter before I realized what I know now. What I initially thought Hunter was saying is that he saw the backpack fly so that when Austin actually came to do whatever move we see in the video, that because the backpack flew, that Austin thought it was some type of grabbing, okay? Now, knowing what I know now, I have a hard time with that, okay? I'm going to leave it there. I got to keep this thing above float, okay? I know what I know, and I know that that's inaccurate, okay? So I'll leave it at that. All right, so hopefully SAT, that'll help you. You're going to see it come down the pipeline. It's going to knock your socks off. All right, let's see. Elizabeth says, I understand, so no turning in on Thursdays. Thank you for tuning in on Thursdays. Okay, yes, indeed. Yeah, I'm sorry. We've had that show for 7 months now, so, it's like a buffet. Some things you like, some things you don't. You tune in for what you like, but we love it when you hear Elizabeth anytime. And sometimes it's not always that way, too. John says, I got the video of you, but too large to email. Okay, it's a split screen for the West and the East video showing when they arrive is synced. Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, I'm not sure. You can send it to me by Google Drive. Upload it to your Google Drive, and then it'll cast a link out that you can send to me if you really want to. Jane says, I thought the police roughed him up when I saw the mug shot. No, we did not hear in court why he received that black eye, but I know now. Oh, Lord. Lord have mercy, man. I'm telling y'all, you're going to see it. Like when I tell you guys stuff, it eventually comes down the pipeline. And I know some people are going to be uncomfortable. All I can say is this. If you were one of the kids that were under that tent, you probably have to speak up now because serious activities are on the way. And as they say down south, the cat is out the bag. Okay? So it's always good to tell the truth ahead of time and save yourself. Okay, Phil says, okay, I have been held in contempt of court for stupid things. I couldn't imagine staying solid in my freedom. Okay, was on the line. Thank you. Phil, shout out to you. Thank you for all you do. Eula says the white supremacists are really upset. Well, people are really going to be upset when they find out that more happened to Karmelo than what we heard in court. Okay, D-Book says, thank you for the truth, Mr. Mel. Nothing but love. Okay, thank you very much. Rebel says, the few times I've heard you, I don't recall you saying he wasn't jumped. You simply said, according to the facts presented in the case. Okay, so now I can officially tell you that it is very likely, right? And I have to be careful. It's very likely Karmelo had more hands on him than what you previously thought. Okay? And sit tight. That's all I can tell you for now. But when you find out, you're going to remember this night. Rich says they can't handle the truth. That's right. They can't handle the truth about Karmelo not being in the, not being in the tent until after the boys arrived. 2 minutes after. I showed you guys tonight, so no need to, go over that again. Rich says you are pinpoint accurate. Yeah, definitely. Thank you. I mean, listen, that's what I'm here for. I don't travel for my health. I mean, I do travel a lot though, but I don't go to these court cases, sit in court on the church pews, those hard seats all day long, and then you can't even barely move around in there, sitting in wall to wall. Why would I go in there and waste your time, come back and tell you a bunch of lies? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. The Rebel says, never believe that. Okay, thank you. All right. Talking to True Crime says, hello, Mel. Since you were in court, did anyone testify that Austin took Karmelo D's backpack? Okay. No, that was not testified. That came out of the video. You know what? So here's the thing. Before I know what I know now, I walked out of court and I says, all these kids talked about what Austin did, what everybody did, Hunter did, and they never mentioned Austin grabbing a backpack. I said, man, that's crazy to me. A lot of the kids say they didn't hear one curse word. Then this one boy came in there, I think his name was Chris, and he was like, Karmelo was saying, F you, and they were cursing up a storm. So I'm like, man, so did the people all day yesterday, maybe 7 or 8 of them, did they all lie? Did they all forget? Like, you don't forget the F word too fast, right? If I said it tonight, you would remember that, right? Remember Elizabeth came on and said, oh, last night, such and such, there was cursing. Well, you don't tend to forget that. Sometimes it has an emotional attachment, because if you are not allowed to use the F word and people start using it, then you're going to be like, yeah, I don't use the F word. My parents raised me better than that, or that type of deal, right? So that threw up a red flag. So I'm like, why didn't the kids mention Austin grabbing the backpack? So now I know why. I know why none of the kids mentioned Austin grabbing a backpack. Okay? There's a reason for it, and it's coming, brother. And Karmelo has some explaining to do too. And he needs to tell everybody why he didn't tell the whole truth about what happened to him. All right? Remember this night. I wouldn't waste your time. But it's coming. Believe me. It's coming faster than you think. You're going to find out if this jumping business is true. Okay, so let's keep moving real quick. I'm trying to get to the end, but the questions keep coming. I'm going to try to close this out. Rich says, yes, indeed. I feel terrible for all parties involved in the situation. It's very heartbreaking. Thank you very much. Miss Pretty P says, question Mel. Do you see someone throw something in the trash can after Melo started running? Yes, we went over that tonight. Think Hunter accidentally did it. Hunter, at that time, was attending to his brother. And I truly believe a testimony from the court, because the coach came up that had military background and basically said he had to, take Hunter off of his brother. Okay, so that makes sense to me. I don't think that was Hunter. I'm always open-minded to be proven wrong, but I don't think so. Jane says none of them under the tent will be the same. Okay. That's right. They testified about that. The Rebel says, is a 15-minute video the complete video or was something removed? I can't really speak on it 100% because I didn't put it together. But I think as far as whatever's released from Collin County, the longest video, I think it's going to be close to that time frame. But I mean, listen, we're only as good as what we receive, and I'm not here to. That's why I always say, for the people to have a different narrative, it can't be the same video because the timeline is off. The timeline does not match. Okay, so it can't be the same video. So they must be watching a different video. Okay, Miss Pretty P says, Mel, when do you think everything will hit the fan? It's coming really fast. That's all I could tell you. And all the people that find out, oh my God, there's so many more questions. And when people find out, without a shadow of a doubt, I'm just saying, if people find out that Karmelo was truly jumped, do you know what's going to happen? You don't want to know what's going to happen. Okay? That's all I could tell you. It's not going to be a good day because people are already in their feelings about the case. And so it is what it is. I know people don't want to hear it, but I'm just here to tell you a few things about the case. Gold Digger says Hunter said Austin took the backpack in his interview with his mom. That's where it came from. Yep, came from that discussion. It was not in court. And why wouldn't the kids mention it? Right? That should stand out. But now I know why. Okay, A1 Development says, so are you saying that you have information that was in a tussle with more than one of those 4 kids and that you're not going to tell, although the cat is out of the bag? Okay, you can come to your own conclusion about that. D-Book says, did they ask for any phone records in court to review any messages? They talked about going through Eddie's phone, and basically from the testimony of the officer, they didn't take his phone like what we saw in the case of Sean Diddy Combs, where they took the phones. In fact, I think recently they said they're not even going to give those phones back to those people. Eddie was able to just hand his phone over. The officer went through the deleted folder and maybe his Snapchat and gave him his phone back. That's a real problem for the case. But I'm telling you, the truth is coming out. Just sit tight. AI says, what did you do on February 15th, 2025? You're not going to remember everything that happened. Okay, that's true. Okay. But if somebody was murdered that day, I think, or somebody was, a baby was born or something, a car accident, I'm going to remember a lot more than it just being an average day that just went by, right? That's reasonable. Miss Pretty P says, I'll catch the replay of what I missed. Yeah, go back and you'll see we broke down the timeline of how Karmelo was not in the tent when the twins arrived. Okay, SAT says, so when Karmelo was arrested, said, I told him not to touch me. It did not exclude more than one person could have touched him. So here's the thing, right? And I don't want to say too much, but I'll say this. My argument is this, and I'm not saying this is what happened, but I'm just giving you an argument. Hunter could have punched Karmelo. Austin could have ran to break them up. Karmelo could have stuck out. Austin could have got hit for what should have went to Hunter. And are you going to call that jumping? If Austin came to try to break it up? We're in the hypothetical zone to answer your question. You follow what I'm saying? So if Hunter, who was sitting right in front of Karmelo, reached over and punched him and then swung again, simultaneously while Austin is running, let's say Austin is doing that drill, it's less likely if Hunter was punching him. See what I'm saying? So this is a hypothetical based on a question that I was just asked. Okay. But if that happened, now you see why when Karmelo says, I told him to keep his hands off me, at that moment he's ran off. He may not even know if he was actually in a bout with Hunter and tried to stick him. I'm just saying, or just try to get him off of me. When he says he could be thinking about Hunter, although he hit Austin, but he could be thinking about Hunter and saying he because Hunter punched him first in the head. I'm just giving you a hypothetical or what could have happened. Okay. So when he's saying he, because it's not defined, okay? Okay. You guys are with me? Because it's not defined, he could have been talking about either one. Everybody assuming Austin because Austin got hit. But think about it, right? And again, this is not what happened. I'm not saying this is what happened, right? But what I am saying that Karmelo is sitting here. Let's say Hunter punched him in the head because he's sitting right in front of him and turned his way. And Austin comes running simultaneously, or he tries to break it up or whatever. Karmelo gets punched in the head. He takes a knife, boom. He's aiming at Hunter or whatever, or just trying to say, get back up off me. And Austin catches the blade. When he goes with the officer, he just saying he. So now you can see how he could be either one of them. But everybody, because Karmelo don't talk, we just live with the fact that he's talking about Austin, but he's actually talking about Hunter. You follow what I'm saying? Anybody with me? Now, I'm not saying that this is what happened. I'm just answering the question, okay? All right. So there you have it. Okay, let's keep moving. Okay, so, and again, yeah, you guys are going to be able to understand this more fully. SAT says, cop often forget to calibrate the clocks on these videos. That's true. We learned that in other cases. So I learned that in Diddy's case, the clocks was off, Luigi Mangione for these body cams. So I didn't turn it into a conspiracy theory. I just highlighted it for those of the watchers. So you could say, oh, yeah, you know, when you see it, then it's like, so now tonight when I showed it to you, you're like, yeah, he was right. This guy's pretty, you know, he's good with his information. So even the information I'm giving you tonight, when you find out, you're going to be like, damn, man, this guy was right on the money. Okay, Mrs. Pretty P says, questions. Have you looked at the video footage Fox 4 put out? You could see track on turf and bleachers on the track, like his one video on top of another. No, I have not seen that. Although I've seen the video, I have not specifically honed in on what you're talking about. The Rebel says they're going to tear. Man, oh man, if you could only understand what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, but the Rebel, yeah, believe it. Okay, SAT says watching arrest report said 2 female coaches from Cincinnati school saw the incident. Okay, hopefully they'll come forward. Okay, Mary says, is the truth going to help Karmelo? I think the truth could potentially. I don't want to get myself too far out there, but they would have to go back and start all over. Okay? Now, I know they're not going to pull the guy out and say, give him a new trial, but you would definitely have to start all over. You can't give a guy 35 years and let me just stay off of it. I don't want to get myself in trouble. Okay, Rich says, thanks, Mel. That's enough for tonight's show. We love you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, big brother. Relax and enjoy your trip. Thank you. I'm about to wrap it up. SAT, you're going to remember this night, okay? That's my answer to you, and I think you're getting what I'm saying. Okay, let's see. SAT says watching, so this new info can come out without the whole new trial and official format. More than likely, it's going to come through the right channel. That's all I could tell you. I wouldn't dare put out stuff that this is a serious time. This is an appeal for someone trying to fight for their life. But time reveals all things. All right. You reap what you sow. What goes around comes around, right? All right. Mary says there's no way Hunter was breaking it up. Okay. So now that's why I didn't want to. Number one, even in my analogy, I didn't use that Hunter was breaking it up. I used the word that Austin in the hypothetical. Okay. So that was a hypothetical, not a statement. So we have to get that right. That's why I don't really like to use the hypothetical, but I gave you a way of understanding when he says he, how that can mean different parties, okay? It can mean Hunter just as much as it can mean Austin. Remember, he was closer to Hunter. Hunter was, according to courtroom testimony, sitting right in front of him. And also, Hunter was the first person, even in Hunter's words, that told him to leave, right? That spoke to him. Okay? So think about that. Usually the first person that says something, well, let's keep moving. All right. Talking to True Crime says, Mel, one more question. Was it established at the court that the knife belonged to Karmelo? I think they did a good job because Karmelo kind of owned that he did the incident. So the prosecution, the defense, right? They said it was a multi-purpose tool. They didn't say it wasn't his. That wasn't their argument. They said, no, it wasn't a knife. It's a multi-purpose tool. So that gives you an answer. Okay. AI says, how can Hunter punch him? He was sitting behind Hunter. Okay. All right. I won't touch on that. I won't touch on that. Okay. AI development says, yes, sir. I'm picking up what you're laying down hypothetically. Okay. Thank you very much. Miss Pretty P says, who's to say Austin only came to break it up? Hunter and his mom boasted about Austin being the protector. If one pushed Mello, which one blacked his eye and caused trauma to his face? Miss Pretty P, if you were at the Easter egg hunt, people would say you're warm. Okay, I hope you get my drift. John says, sent your link through Google Drive. Thank you very much. Okay. Lola says yes. Okay. Very good. Grumpy, shout out to you. I came in late. Hello, everyone. All right, we're about to wrap it up, guys. Gold Digger, I know you know what I'm talking about, but I think I'm being good about it, The Rebel says we're on the same page. I know you're with me, Rebel. You okay? All right. Okay, Lola says, and guess what? These individuals are with me because they sat through the entire show tonight and they realized that I was telling the truth about who arrived in the tent first. So now, the next time I tell them some facts from another case that I go cover, I'm going to cover Chris Brown in London. I'm covering Jay-Z. When I cover these cases, you're going to be like, yeah, Mel said it. I tend to believe him over Francisco. The lying panhandler. You know what I mean? Okay, so anyway, Royale says it sounds like a lot of corruption is going on in Collin County. I can't really say that. What I'm trying to tell you is this, okay? This is my point. In court, they never highlighted what happened under the tent. They had the professional come in. Don't you think if you have the prosecution and the defense, one of them would have highlighted what happened under the tent? You highlight Karmelo running away, but you don't put any light under the tent so we can see hands, who's moving, who's doing everything. Do you guys understand? You get my drift now? The defense had a whole year. Put some light, show us who's who and who's doing what. And see, now it leaves room for the truth to come out after the boy has been sent away 35 years. Okay? And when the truth comes out, people are going to go nuts, and I don't want to be in the crowd. That's all I'm going to tell you guys. Anyway, let me keep moving. Let me get out of here, guys. All right, let's see here. I think I made my point now. All right, so, and I'm willing to stand on it. Okay, there we go. It's Real says, do I remember correctly that one of the kids testified their sister was in the poncho? Yes. The girl in the poncho, you can't identify her, so I'll talk about her, but she was testified. She was too distraught by what happened to really testify, but her brother came in and he said that the mother was the pediatrician of the twins. Okay. That's courtroom testimony. I told you I pay attention, guys. I don't waste my time. I don't waste your time either. Let's see. Gold Digger says, yes, Hunter was the first one to speak to Karmelo, not Austin. Okay, so if he's the first one to speak to him, okay. But the kids testified that he remained turned around the entire time. So you spoke to Karmelo. Hey, man, shut up. Stop all this nonsense, right? And then you turned around and just politely sat there. When was the last time if a guy starts talking junk, if I'm talking junk to a guy, I'm going to keep my eyes on him. If he's sitting behind me, I got to move. I got to see him coming, right? So who's going to sit there politely after you told a guy to get out of here? Okay, so I don't want to say too much. Anyway, we're almost out of here. I'm being good, right, Gold Digger? I'm trying to lead you to the promised land, but a lot of people, all week, I've been trying to take people to the promised land, but they don't want to go. They rather go over and take stops and, whatever. Let me be cool. Okay, Miss Pretty P says, I get it, Mel. Thanks for your coverage. Okay, get some rest. Yeah, I'm about to wrap it up. All right, Miss Pretty P says, lots of corruption. Listen, based on what I saw, it's going to be a problem, man. It's going to be a real problem. Virgo says, some say it's all corrupted. Lord have mercy. That's all I could tell you. Gold Digger says a video enhanced specialist said in court he only highlighted what the prosecution told him to. Gold Digger, that's what I came back and I said. You've been paying attention, Gold Digger, right? That's a real problem. Why didn't you highlight what's under the tent? Neither side highlighted it. You go through all this trouble hiring an expert and you don't show the main event of the day? Come on, man. Come off it. All right. Miss Pretty Pete. Hey, guys, hit the like button, share, subscribe to the channel. This is probably, I won't be covering this case as much. I'm going to chill out on it for now, but when it's coming back as a boomerang, believe it. Okay, let's see. A1 says, I'm willing to stand with you on this one. Good. And I'm glad that you stand with me on who arrived in the tent first, because all week I was so frustrated because I see people putting out false narratives. And I'm like, you're deceiving yourself. Hello. I got the proof over here. Watch the video. People like, no, I saw a TikTok for 1 minute. That's all I needed, Jack. All right. God bless you. All right. Yeah. Hunter was just minding his business, like the old nursery rhyme, eating his curds away. All right. So anyway, the rebel says if he was turned around, he wouldn't have been able to step over those bleachers to chase Melo. Okay. Exactly. Okay, the rebel, I need you to chill out. You giving away now. See, if I can't give out too much information, you're the rebel. You're something else. You must be like a paralegal or something in real life. Okay, so anyway, Rigger says, Mel, this is a dead horse. Okay, could be a dead horse. But that horse is going to get up and walk again. And maybe it might gallop to a theater near you. SAT says, does the case on how people and reacting make you feel race relations are worse or the same lately. Not in New York, because I asked people in New York about the case. They don't even know, could care less. They don't know who Karmelo Anthony is. In the South, I think it's more. Okay. So, but race is a serious issue here. But do I think it was about race that day? No, because it could have been, right? But it was black guys, white guys. They were telling Carmelo to leave. Black boys say, "Hey, I told her turn around and said, get out of here." They heard him talking some noise, whatever. So that's that. Okay. Lola says, I'm going to chill too. Hopefully everything is in the right hands. Believe you me. Okay. Talking True Crime says Gold Digger. That was a boom. Okay. Yes, the pediatrician. The Rebel. Okay. All right. So we finally reached the end. Thank you guys for letting me go. I'll be going live. As I told you, I have some really good camera ready to go 4K. So when I'm at the pyramids and on the Nile River, all that stuff, you guys who tune in, you'll get a chance to see Egypt. It's an educational tour. When I covered the Vatican and I went to Italy and Pompeii, I showed you guys all the background details. You get a chance to understand what the tour guides are actually saying, and you're getting to see. So I'll be having my battery loaded and ready to go to try to share some of my journey with you, because I think it's going to be very fascinating. It's definitely a place I've always wanted to go. All right. So tonight we covered a lot of ground. There's a lot that I think is going to be revealed. Some say it's going to be a dead horse. I think that dead horse is going to get up and walk. Okay. And that dead horse is probably going to gallop. Yeah. It may not be immediate. It may not be in your time frame, but it will be. And when it will be, it's going to be a day that you won't ever forget, because people want justice, right? And that justice might mean that a man who took another man's life needs to serve some time. No doubt about it, right? That's what justice looks like in many cases. If it happens to your family, you're going to say, I want somebody to serve some time. And the mother in the family, she's going to want, if the person doesn't get time, I can guarantee the mother of the house won't get any sleep. And sometimes when you're trying to sleep at night, she's going to be screaming in that room, talking about what happened to my boy, some stuff like that. That's going to have you shaking in your pants, right? So that's the whole idea of looking at this from both sides, right? But on the flip side of the coin, you're going to also have a chance to see that sometimes people withhold information that's needed in order to make a real decision for justice. And that's my whole point. How can you get justice if all the facts didn't come out? But not only that, what if some of the facts were swept under the rug? Why would a person sweep facts under the rug? Because they know those facts could bring about a difference in a case. It might set a man free if people came to the understanding that a man was being beat by more than one person. Okay? And on the darker side of life, they're going to go crazy. Okay? They're going to go crazy. When they get to see the real picture, it's not going to be a good day, because now the position, people are going to want to know, how did this happen? And if it happened here, how many other places did it happen? And how many more times will it happen? Okay? So sometimes you need to face the facts. But I tell you what, there's another segment of the people that I run into, because I run into both sides. I get the guys who are extremists, and they want to say, kill him, you know. He took a life, kill him, and this and that. They don't want to see it any other way. Okay? All right? And then you get the other people who just want to make content, and they'll tell you anything just to make a few shekels, right? So I deal with that too. But for the most part, I can tell you that I can be backed up by the truth. And that truth is subjective, it's relative, because the truth came out of the Collin County Courthouse. So I'm able to have that discussion too, right? So I can sit in different seats and have all different types of conversations, okay? But as it stands, based on the courtroom testimony and the video, everything is jiving up. And I showed you guys it matches, right? But then who's to say what these other people are saying? They didn't see something totally different. I can't dispute that because I wasn't there. I didn't go to the ISD, right? I can't speak on it. I can tell you it sounds strange to me though, right? But I can't go farther than that. I can't tell a man what he saw, what he didn't see, right? Who makes me who put me on the hill to tell everybody who ate the cabbage? You know, that's not my job. But I could tell you there's probably 3 bushes around the cabbage. There's a road. You know, I'm giving you details from the court case. That's it. You know, in this case, I've learned more information and I reached out to try to let the watchers know, my watchers know that brace yourself. There's more here than meets the eye. And the day that you see what I'm talking about, which is going to be soon, you know, I debated about introducing it to you, but it's not my job. I'm not doing the appeal. All right. So I'm going to leave it at that. But one day you're going to see what I'm talking about. It's not going to be a good day. It's a sad day for me because I realized that what I was told in court was a damn lie. Good night.
Different voices, but the same song. Living a world where we all belong. Kindness leading the way, breaking the chains. In the symphony of love, the thing remains. Embracing diversity, brighter days in sight. Watching the world sharing love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might. Watching the world sharing love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. The colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.